गाइस अनि हामी चाहिँ नेपालबाट
मेरो विचारमा चाहिँ हाम्रो रिजनबाट स्टालवर्ड स्पोर्ट्सले नै जित्नेछ.
Ер нь бол энэ жил BTR-аа авраг авах. Ягаад гэвэл тэд өнгөрсөн үед авраг авч ирсэн болохоор бид шинэ багч гэсэн энэ жил хүчтэй өрсөлдөж юу чаддгийг харууллаа.
Yeah, Starward is a strong team, but so are East League teams. There won't be any easy or hard groups. Everyone is stronger here, and the competition has never been tougher.
यो टुर्नामेन्टमा चाहिँ जे पनि हुन सक्छ र प्रथम इस्ट लिगको प्रथम हुने टिम यो टुर्नामेन्टमा अन्तिममा जान पनि सक्छ र के та कसैलाई के та हामी डेरा प्रथम हुन्छौँ कि
Тоглогч нарт бол итгэлтэй маш их чухал. Манай бүсийн бүх тамирчид багууд бүгдээрээ сайн, бүх мэрэгчдийн тамирчид номер 1 ахыг хүсдэг.
Мароккогийн багууд тоглохоор байсан. Тэгээд тэртээ тоглох болохоор цагийн зөрүүнд өглөө байдаг болохоор тэднэрт хэцүү байгаа хаа.
त्यसैले मलाई चाहिँ अरूको लागि एकदमै दुःख लागिरहेछ. केही छैन सक्दोसम्म चाँडो सकाइदिउँ अनि अरूलाई चाहिँ होलिडेमा पठाइदिउँ है.
धेरै राम्रो भइसक्यो गेम. अब त यसो बिदातिर पनि जानु पर्ला.
Та нарын итгэлтэй байдал бид нар жоохон инээтэй санагдаад байна.
हँसाउने कुरा नगर न साथी.
East бүсэд юусоо сул баг гэж байхгүй. Та нар хүснэгтийг тэргүүлээгүй хэр удаж байгаа вэ? Бид нар та нарын хэлсэн үгийг харамсуулахын тулд бид нар та нараар кино хийх болно.
हाम्रो लागि चिन्ताको विषय भनेको नि चाइनिज टिम मात्र हो.
Бид нэр зөв өмнөд Азийн багуудтай тоглохыг маш их хүсэж байна.
सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ हामीलाई चाइनिज टिमदेखि चाहिँ उनीहरूसँग भिन्न एकदम इच्छुक छौँ हामी. सो SPMGC मा चाहिँ उनीहरूलाई हामी हराउने एकदम कोसिस गर्नेछौँ.
Тал нутгийн аваргуудын хүчийг удахгүй мэдрүүлнэ та нарт.
र म चाहिँ र हाम्रो टिम चाहिँ के भन्न चाहन्छु भन्दाखेरि सबै टिमलाई हामी चाहिँ कोहीसँग डराउँदैनौँ र हामी आउँदैछौँ सबैजनालाई एलिमिनेट गर्न.
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الفوز والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
السلام عليكم، معكم مهدي شاركو من فريق كريبتكس المغربي أحد ممثلي الشرق الأوسط في بطولة PMGC.
Hello everyone, I'm Raouf from Nigma Galaxy, originally from Algeria.
بإذن الله جايين هالموسم عشان نحقق المركز الأول في الشرق.
I really admire the Chinese team, Nova Esports.
أتوقع أن تيمات جنوب شرق آسيا والتيمات الصينية تيمات قوية وإحنا مو تيم ضعيف وكريبتكس قد التحدي بالبطولة.
I think the first team in East League might be a Chinese team, but the finals are guaranteed to no one.
مثل ما قال نجم كريكسي الليج مو نفس الأول بالفاينل. الفاينل أهم ومع قوة الفرق الشرقية هدفنا السيدة.
These goals are too conservative. Our main goal is to win the finals and be top one.
الكلام الكثير ما له فايدة. إذا بدكم تثبتوا حالكم اثبتوه على خريطة إيرانجل.
I think our mentality is fine. It might be easy to get ahead of ourselves, and we lost some games in season 2 as a result, but we will not make those mistakes again. And I think we're mentally stronger than any other team.
العقلية قوية مهمة، لكن قدرة اللاعب الفردية هي تحدد بين الفوز والخسارة.
بما أنه بنحكي عن عقليات، عقلية تيمنا كتير قوية وما رح نتسرع بالفاينل وما خايفين من الخسارة، وأنا واثق كتير من تيمي أنه رح نسوي شيء بالفاينل.
فإذا عقليتك قوية ما راح يفرق بين الفوز والخسارة ولا أنا لعبك طلعك السريع.
Nice. You need to trust your teammates, but when it comes to teamwork, we can show you how it's done.
داخل الجيم أكيد راح نتصادم مع الفرق الثانية، وأتوقع راح يكون في كر وفر بينه وبين الفرق الآسيوية، ولكن أنا متحمس لتدميرهم مرة ثانية.
تاكتيك شبع الفرق اليابانية والكورية قوي، لكن الشيء اللي يفرق داخل الجيم هو المهارات القتالية، وكريبتكس ما راح يرحم أي فريق.
كريبتكس وين؟
Probably trying to delay the inevitable. He spotted where all three members are, but for him to isolate these fights, get these 1v1s, I don't think they're going to be affording him that. He gets the first knock. Now, he has been tagged quite low. They're trying to confirm the kill, which he will, onto 8 Sir, so I guess that's the best case scenario there for 628. At least get the 1 point, but they will be knocked out as well, joining their Chinese counterparts in the form of Nova.
Because if you look at the team list here, there's one massive team missing. Nova did not qualify into our second Super Weekend. But that worries me, Max. Is this replicating the performance from last year where they didn't qualify? I believe it was the second or first Super Weekend. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they still went on to win the entire event.
Well, I think we've got to stop saying BTR prank, okay? I think that's not valid anymore. I think we've got to start saying this Nova prank that's happening right now, okay? They're just taking a little bit of a break, a small vacation before going into that third Super Weekend, which I'm pretty sure they're going to try their best to make it for that tournament. They're still trying to keep that. Paraboy was the top 4 in terms of elimination at the end of the league play, and in terms of overall damage, he was top 3, right behind Action at top, which are you going to be Action at top after how good of a league play they had? It's pretty hard, but the fact that they've not qualified and the Paraboy is that high is so impressive.
A little bit too deep, but this is the opportunity phase we're looking for, and Tony K run and gun. The Dogs Macabre and Team Secret will be eliminated. Genesis Dogma helping them out, and FaZe Clan third place. Great work for MS Chonburi, and it's all on Stalwart. It's all on Pika, the 1v4. Looking unlikely, they're pushing in, and they make a quick work of it. For a moment there, Imperium, it's Stalwart Esports. I've seen them pull off almost 1v4s, but FaZe played that one to perfection.
It is technically the first back-to-back win in a single day from the team, and it's FaZe able to get it, and they had such a good play from the very start until the very end. They played Ricardo and brings up a world of opportunities in terms of where you want to rotate, how you want to rotate. You go from good high ground position to good high ground position to just maximize the information input.
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
PUBG Mobile fans around the world, welcome to the 2021 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. To the top teams across all regions, we have a message for you. The Middle East, you have proven your worth. Now, make your formidable debut on the PMGC stage. South Korea, forget the past. This year, show the world you've ascended. Remind the world of South Korea's raw talent. Japan, you came so close last year. But what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Bring it back better than ever. The Americas, you're the alpha dogs that dominated the West. Now, lead the pack on the world stage. Southeast Asia, you took down so many strong teams on your journey to the top. It's time for a comeback on the global stage. Europe, it's now or never. Push your limits and surprise us all. This is the moment to create your legacy. South Asia, you were the dark horse of 2020. Amaze those who would underestimate you again. China, you carry the crown of last year's PMGC. Now, with everyone's eyes on you once more, can you secure back-to-back victories? PMGC needs a champion. The world needs a champion. Who will stand victorious in the end? Who will be next to glory?
Hello, PUBG Mobile fans. It's almost time to bring together the world's top teams for the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021. This year's PMGC has a total prize pool of $6 million for teams and players, and tons of great rewards for our fans as well. PMGC will consist of 2 stages, League and Grand Finals. The League phase will last from November 30th to December 24th. During the League phase, teams from the Americas and Europe will compete in the West League, while teams from Asia and the Middle East will compete in the East League. Each league, 20 teams will compete on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 16 slots to compete on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in that week's Super Weekend. The total Super Weekend scores over the first 3 weeks will determine which 16 teams will compete in the PMGC League Finals during the final week. The top 9 teams from the East League Finals, the top 6 teams from the West League Finals, and a special invited team will advance to the PMGC Grand Finals. The PMGC Grand Finals, which will take place on January 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, will determine the PMGC 2021 Global Champions. Who will be the next to glory? Don't miss a single minute of exciting PMGC action.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back here to the final day of league play, the final chance for all of these teams to get through into top 16 and make it into our very final Super Weekend, where all the teams are competing to make it into our finals. I can't believe we're finally here. It feels like it's just completely flown by, but you know what? I feel like all the teams have been feeling the opposite way, really worrying every single night. How can we get back into this, or how can we maintain our performance? Jason Kaplan joined by the lovely Kalaris, who seems to be losing his hair. What was that?
It's actually just too big, Jason. It's the complete opposite of losing my hair. I don't know what's going on, but I'll live with it for today.
That does sound terrible. The opposite of losing your hair. I'm sure a lot of people out there really love you for that. And also Professor Tarzan on the end. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. Welcome.
I feel like I've lost some hair, so it could be better this morning, but it needs to be an even better morning for a lot of these teams, because we know that today's going to be extremely stressed for some of them, because they know the math. You know, the points are not on their side, so there's a lot of points to chase, a lot of big brain plays to move.
Well, yeah, big brain plays to make happen here. And Kalaris, you know, I'm curious about your thoughts. You weren't on the show yesterday as you were watching the sidelines, keeping us company. What's your overall takeaway, besides the fact that FaZe Clan is here and FaZe Clan's ready to fight?
Oh, jeez. I mean, their man, Genesis Dogma, considering the way they came out blasting after seeing the first 2 games unfold, I could not believe my eyes to see that. But again, down towards the bottom side of the table, I'm really surprised to see Stalwart not have the best start to the day. But we know that they can bounce back, and I'm expecting it.
But Kalaris, come on. Okay, Maxman and Professor Tarzan were being so PC with this. But realistically, hot drops. Do you think they're going to happen? Do you think we're going to see some teams try to punish like TJB, Bigatron to try to keep them out of top 16, keep them out of getting through into the finals?
Oh, I really wish they would. I really do. I mean, you know, Blank was alluding to the fact that we had obviously the drops going on Miramar, potentially to actually influence some drops on Erangel, and I was talking about it with him whilst even the broadcast was going on, so because I was so excited about potentially the knock-on effect of those things occurring. But I still think there's too much of this gentleman's handshake, which shouldn't exist, because you should be trying to push some strong opposition out towards the very last stages of this tournament, but I don't know if it'll happen, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's a lot of money on the line here. $6 million for all the teams that they're playing for it. If I could do anything in the terms of like hot dropping and keeping a team out to potentially get myself $100,000 more, or even more than that, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. It's part of the game. Yeah. And, you know, forget the gentleman's agreement. Go for the fights. Keep out your competition. It's their fault. They're not doing well in the week already. So why should you be punished for it? But we can see here, Tarzan, the groups, and continue this conversation, man.
Yeah, I think it's time to see some hot drops. I know we've been thinking about, it might be too early yesterday. There's actually, it's down to whether the team themselves can really handle it, like to execute those plays. But it's also important to see which teams to really punish. Like, what teams are more punishable? Which teams are looking a bit more scared and unprepared in maybe fighting just on the go? So those are the things that they need to look out for. There are certain teams who will take you on and happily fight you. So you need to see what teams to really drop on.
Yeah, I think one thing is stay away from FaZe. Their lowest ranking yesterday was 2nd place with 7 eliminations. Their highest place was first with 14. I mean, this team is at 70 points. And the weird thing is to me, James, is the fact that we had FaZe Clan not even qualify in the first Super Weekend. But they've been improving this entire time. Ever since Week 2 came around, they have really shown, all right, we can bounce back from this. We're better than what we showed you in Week 1. And I think for me, that's a sign of a championship caliber team.
Yeah, I can only agree considering what we've seen from them here so far at this present moment. I think the trigger for them really was that Erangel game where they were pushing into the compound, then pushing across the road and being able to take control of that hill that Bigatron Red Aliens had in the previous week's worth of gameplay. That, for me, was the trigger. Ever since we saw them do well in that game, they've said to themselves, wait a minute, we are fantastic because we're FaZe. Let's keep playing that way. And then just bouncing into yesterday with the second place, first place, second place, plenty of kills to boot as well. That's a terrifying prospect to go up against when they're feeling that good. So I'm fully on the FaZe train for now. FaZe up.
Yeah, fantastic FaZe. Actually, I think their new name they're coming out with in 2022. We can see here though, Tars on the second page. It's a little bit scary for the likes of Secret, DRS. I mean, Secret I think did the exact same thing week 1, but day 2 they really bounced back. But BC Swell, the only team to not qualify for the Super Weekend. This is it. This is their chance. This is their only chance now that's left. And even if they do make that chance happen, they have so many points they have to catch up on.
Yeah, the fact that they've got 13 points in 3 games is not too bad compared to before, right? So it's just a comparative thing. There's a lot more that they have to do, but we can see there's certain proactivity coming through in the rotation. So that is a good change. But of course, we have so many teams who were relying on that one slightly bigger game, like to be in the mid, 20s range. So there's a lot more to do because we know mid 40s is where you want to head towards, not age points. So that is where we are going to set the bar.
Yeah, really quickly here as you see action up against Pairboy. I believe these are 2 top MVPs from league matches only, so across the 3 weeks, which is even more impressive considering Nova, for Pairboy in particular, well, they didn't qualify last Super Weekend. They only had like 30-something points, and Stalwart had, I think, over 100.
Yeah, my concern doesn't really lie too much for Nova this week, which is kind of good for them. I mean, they've already got themselves 40 points on the board. Paraboy able to make things happen even when the rest of his team is not making it happen, which I think is very, very impressive in itself. Especially considering Nova, for me, for a long time, used to be a team that was very well-rounded. Now we haven't really seen as much of that just yet in this tournament, but we're slowly getting to see that. Of course, yesterday they got themselves the second place with 10 kills. And 40 points so far is putting them in a position where they should be safe as long as they don't have like 0-point games coming in here, Jason.
Yeah, 100%. And well, 0-point games can happen. We'll see if they will happen today. Yeah, but we can see. I mean, for Stalwart, I don't know if you agree with this necessarily, Tarzan, but I think for me they've been the most impressive. Well, them and like Nigma to me have been pretty much like the most impressive teams we've seen in PMGC. Just from the bounce back from last year, also for STE. A team that we've never really knew about until this event, really, right? We never really got to see them too much international events.
Yeah, I love seeing a team like that come into the scene because they are fresh. It's almost like they have not been affected by the past metas. They came in, they keep growing through the year, so they will be on top of the game, like compared to other teams when it comes to adapting to metas, even create new metas. It's not just this team. The other team that had the run from PMCO online qualifiers was actually Genesis Dogma, and we saw how fluid they play. So that it might be the recurring theme right now, comparing like old Kings and new Kings in how they actually can outgrow the other counterpart.
For sure. Jason, just to jump in before the schedule as well, for me, when I look at those numbers, when you're looking at Action 33%, Top 25%, Scry 28 or 29%, Pika 22% contribution, this is a roster in Stalwart right now of all-star players. There is not one person on that team, in my opinion, right now, that's letting that side down. So I think to see everybody performing at full gear here for them looks fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic indeed. We can see here we'll be starting things off on Miramar with groups A, B, D, and E. These are the teams that will be participating. So when we get in predictions, don't pull a Maxman, don't pull Professional Tarzan. I guess more so don't pull a Professional Tarzan, considering he's done it more than once, I believe. Make sure you guys. Just once? Maxman, you can correct him on that maybe. No, maybe it was just once for all of you guys. But I do kind of wonder for certain teams. They played 5 matches yesterday. Groups like A and B did, I believe. And now going into today, you're going to have matches where like fate's taken out of your hands. So you have to sit back and just watch the other matches play out. Now, whether or not you're across that top 16 line or not is going to determine how worried you're going to be. So I'm expecting some teams to start off extremely strong right off the bat. At least I'm hoping so, right? And I'm still going to put it out there. Hot Drops, come on, man. You know some teams only have 3 matches left. You punish them early. You could keep them out of the entire tournament.
Yeah, when it comes to the teams that have had 5 games played so far, the one team that's really concerned for me is Deadeye's guys. They've got themselves 23 points with only the 5 games played so far. Every other team that I am currently concerned for has 3 games played, so there is still an opportunity, or a large opportunity, for them to strike out. But I'm looking at I think, for a lot of us, BC as well is probably done here. I'm still looking at Bigatron Red Aliens to a certain degree. We still need to have a consistent day coming out from them, otherwise they may end up missing another Super Weekend, and that would be disastrous for a great roster.
And there is a chance for maybe like Reject, if we want to talk about them. We've been wondering since week 1, where have they come when it comes to Miramar? That was their strongest map, hands down. They do get a victory on Miramar yesterday, but they've only played out 3 matches, and they're sitting in 9th place. I guess we are seeing a bit of a stronger team out of them, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, like 3 games, 28 points, and 1 game on the strong map being Miramar, and we're playing that 3 times today out of the 5. You need to do more work to prevent them from going in, and you really have to target them, like if that is your goal, right? Because when we look at the bottom there, before this week started, you ideally want to stop FaZe, the Xavier, Damwon, and BC Swell from going in. Like 3 of those teams been doing decently well already, so like what teams are you going to punish next?
I will say as well, though, Damwon is one of the teams that I'm also quite concerned for today. I mean, yes, they started with a 2nd place with 10 kills, but Damwon is so up and down. They are a roller coaster when it comes to results. And if they have, because they're going to have 4 games today instead of 5, if they have a downturn on those 4 games, which can happen given the track record here in this tournament so far, they could quite easily find themselves in a BC Swell situation where it's impossible for them to qualify here into that grand final.
Yeah, it's getting really scary for some of these teams, and you obviously have to hope that they can perform when it matters, right? I mean, that's obviously the sign of being a championship caliber team, is being able to perform when you can. And one way to help you perform is by getting yourself a 1+. Funny enough, they're actually the sponsor here of PMGC. What a coincidence! With its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers, the 1+99 Pro are your best shot to climb the leaderboards. Hopefully they've been able to pick them up, because they might need to do so here. But as we are getting close to heading into our first match, I believe, in a little bit of time, maybe we can just get our predictions out of the way, actually, right off the bat, and hear a little bit of a reason why you guys did go for those predictions. So as you can see, with 2 minutes left to go on Miramar, maybe we can start to dive into them here. Kalaris, I'm going to go to you first. Why is it the Infinity?
Because it's not, Jason. My prediction is going to be the guys that were riding high at the end of yesterday, now coming into today. It is going to be FaZe Clan. They have got themselves a 2nd, a 1st on Miramar, and then a 2nd riding through that. This is not a roller coaster, Jason. They're on cloud 9, not that team, and will be flying here today.
Let's get some bad news here. They're not actually playing in this first match. Tarzan. No, I'm kidding. I trust Kalaris.
I trust him too, but you know what? Like with me and my prediction, I picked Bigatron Red Aliens. I feel like it's a very bold call, but when we talked about, history of teams, we talk about, it's like my mom said, do you want to be loving or want to be right? And I actually want to encourage, I want to see them do well. I feel like we've got different types of surprises in this tournament. We haven't seen them come in with the biggest pleasant surprise. It would mean so much actually for us who've been, following the scene for so long, to see them actually have one very solid game.
I think you do have the best track record out of all of us, to be completely fair to you. I chose Infinity because, it's Infinity. I mean, why wouldn't you choose Infinity? I mean, whether I'm right or wrong doesn't matter, because they're always playing well. They're always one of the top performing teams. So, suck it, guys.
You're not wrong.
Infinity.
You're not wrong.
The thing is, they also not won a single match ever since I started to predict them. So,
that's not good for you. What has gone on? Has Max passed on the curse? Is that?
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. I still have time when we get to the finals. But ladies and gentlemen, let's head over to our commentators here to kick off the first match. It's going to be John Allen and Blake once again.
Thank you very much, Jason. We're going to be getting into the first map of the day. It's getting pretty close, too close for comfort for some of these teams to have to qualify for these super weekends. Looking at you, Nova, hoping that they can be able to slip on in. Blank, you feeling nervous, or are you feeling cool and calm to get to Miramar?
I feel nervous about this bloody wire. Get it around my neck. It's getting in the way. It's getting in the way. Just like a fair few of these teams are getting in each other's way. And I would like to see more of these teams, like the boys say on the desk, go for a few of these hot drops. I mean, it would make sense. Wow, this is one of the straightest playing paths have seen coming down from the bottom of the island all the way to the top side towards Torre Armada. So a little bit of an interesting one, but this actually, I think this is one of the most fair playing paths you can get here on Miramar. On Erangel, you're really hoping for that straight horizontal one, but I think for Miramar, like a vertical one works out much better in your favor, especially when it's towards the center like this, because getting towards the top side of the map takes much longer, whereas a lot of these teams, they can just ride it out all the way to the end.
Hopefully just trying to get everywhere they're going. I feel like it's not too prohibitive of too many places here, but Infinity potentially looking to drop. Are we going to see that reconflict over an Impala? That's what I'm sort of looking for early in this gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, Impala seems to be a position that Genesis Dogma is very fond of at the moment. We don't have DX Xavier dropping in with them on this side today, so they'll be pretty lonesome over towards Impala at the beginning of the game, but Bigatron down towards Puerto Paraíso, down towards the southeast side of the map. So a little bit more area for BTR to control, but again, we get this same circle from yesterday heading over towards Monte Nuevo, which I believe was held out by 3 separate teams that day. So Monte Nuevo are going to be very hotly contested as per usual. See how that goes down. Let's quickly take stock of the standings, John. Over here on our screen, FaZe currently in first place.
Yeah, they're doing work. They're doing bits, as they say, Blank. I've been reliably informed that that's a correct piece of terminology. Yeah, they're sat at the top. They had some phenomenal games yesterday, and they've only played 3 of their matches, as have Genesis Dogma, right? So they've got 5 to play today. So the fact that those 2 teams at the top have managed to knock it out the park so early is great news. Obviously, they're more than likely going to qualify today, right? It's very unlikely that we won't be seeing them in this Super Weekend, which is great news for FaZe and even great news for Genesis Dogma in their race to be that top seed going into the finals.
For sure, and also one team to take note of right now is 5th place Nova, 40 points. That game yesterday where they finished 2nd and FaZe finished 1st on Miramar was extremely important to them because they were hovering around that 14-point line. Though they have played a lot of their games so far, John, so it's a little bit scarier for them. They are currently in this map with us over towards Minas Generales. Team tends to take a nice central spot on Miramar. I think the team is very weird in one sense, and I'll go into a bit more detail now because I think the guys on the desk definitely brought it up, but I don't think they went even further back than they could have done because it's a great point to bring up in the first place.
I can't believe you're saying James isn't good at his job. I can't believe.
No, I think they're great. Like, they don't have a lot of time to go through everything, whereas here we got loads of time to talk, man. We got loads of time. You know, you got to spend more time with me, bro. I'm not sure how much of a good thing that is for you, but you know, Paraboy's been really stepping it up. Then Order was stepping it up, but similarly, if we look back to the very beginning of the tournament, who was stepping up then, John? I'm going to let you take this one.
Oh, you put me on the spot now, and now I'm nervous. I don't know if I'm going to say the right answer.
I called his name very loudly. You know,
was it Jimmy?
Bob the Builder reference? That's
Jimmy,
the one. That's the one. That's the one. It was Jimmy. And I think this is the crazy thing about this team is that we talk about consistency within a team, but honestly, for Nova, it goes one step more than that. It's player consistency because the moment we seem to be only having 1 player step up per day. I don't think that's good enough. And it's weird as well because Nova has such a massive experience pool in terms of their players. They're all seasoned, and I think if Paraboy, Order, as well as Jimmy are all playing up to scratch in these games, you'd see a very different Nova. So it's a little bit sad at the moment because I don't think we're seeing full strength Nova, and they could be a lot better.
Potentially able to step up a little bit further this Super Weekend if they're able to get it. Also a note on the standings on the side, this is only the 16 teams that are in this game. There are of course 4 teams that aren't playing in this game, so Nova, whilst they are 5th on the table on the side, are 7th overall in the standings this so far in this week's week play. DX Xavier and Cryptix just edging them out with 44 and 42 points respectively.
There's your John Oates, just to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on. He's great at that. We love to see it. I did get a few messages yesterday, actually, from some fans talking about their favorite team, Genesis Dogma. You know, and I was discussing about whether Genesis Dogma was the top dog in the lobby. Currently, obviously, they're second place in the Super Weekend. And it's not a case that I think that this team is not the best team in the lobby. And I'm not saying that they can't take fights with the best teams, but I think that their playstyle is very different. And when I said yesterday they probably couldn't win a fight 4v4 with Stalwart, well, that's probably out the window now considering how Stalwart's playing anyway. But I think that Genesis Dogma would never take that fight in the first place because they're far better at slowly whittling down teams, which is an excellent way to play. And it's a playstyle I've not seen before, and it's very, very successful. So everyone at home, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Genesis Dogma is a bad team. I'm just saying that, you know, they play the game differently. And it's a way I've not seen it before, and I think it's amazing.
So there you go. Blank thinks Genesis Dogma are a bad team. That's what he said. That is exactly what he said.
That's
I didn't
exactly
hear
what I
anything
said.
else. Nothing else happened. It's like it's like the question of who would win in a fight between Dumbledore and Gandalf, right? Like they just probably wouldn't be fighting in the first place.
Exactly. You know, they would make peace, or at least Gandalf would, you know, pull out his angelic powers and probably put a stop to the fight in the past.
Whoa!
We don't talk about that. Sorry.
Now we're actually going to get into the argument, and I'm going to have to
keep it secret. Okay. The Infinity on our screen at the moment, obviously not in 4th place either. But 48 points currently in this lobby of our 16 teams. They've been doing fairly well, and I would say a lot of that has been coming down to the fact that they've been switching up a lot of their drop spots, trying to get into better positions, particularly on Erangel. I think they're changing things over there. I'm happy to see it, and that is one thing that I think is an excellent trait in a team, is when you've had so much success from a singular position on the map, John, and then it starts to taper off, and you don't just bull rush it into thinking, we're just going to stay here. It worked before, right? It's not working now. Maybe something needs to change. And I really appreciate that the Infinity isn't just sticking to their guns. They're finding a new gun, a better gun, a more oiled gun, and that's okay.
Only if you oil the right bits of the gun. It's very important. If you oil the wrong bits of a gun, you're going to get a face full of smoke, and you're not going to have a good time playing. That's the crucial part. The question is, have they oiled the right parts of the gun?
That's true. That is true. You don't want an oily handle. You don't want that.
That's true. If you oil the barrel of a gun, you're going to have a very bad time. Let me tell you that. Looks like those bullets are sliding out without any trouble, though. No lubrication necessary. Mela lands the shots across the way, but MS Chonburi pushing up to God Tunny around the side of the rock. Jasper gets that knock and has the backup from Mela, but a little bit too far back and actually sits him down as well. Newsy now trying to take the fight with him. And the Infinity struggling here against MS Chonburi as they start to mount the hillsides near Chumasera. Circle sent out west, and the nades are sending out that way too. Look at that, right on top of Newsy's position. Not getting the damage, but certainly putting the fear of God in him. He has to move around. Not quite landing the shots, Blank.
Yeah, I think for Newsy right now, they have to back off. And for the Infinity, losing God Tunny at the start of this fight is basically disaster for them, because God Tunny basically immediately plays that anchor position for them, and that's where they all regroup from. So I think that when the Infinity loses God Tunny straight away, that's when the team starts to look a little bit questionable, because I do feel like God Tunny is very, very impactful when it comes to retreating from a lot of these fights, or at least retreating with majority of members still alive. Here we see the Infinity go down to just one, and it's a bad start to the game for them. MS Chonburi, on the other hand, I'm extremely pleased with the way they've played out this game so far. You know, that was a very, very confident push up towards the hillside. Quick knock comes through, they hear the fighting, they no messing around, and it's such a change from the MS Chonburi we saw at the beginning of this tournament, and they have just got better and better. And I think for Korea, you know, they're really, really doing a massive work to put themselves back on the map.
5th place right now in the Super Weekend standings, Blank. They have 233 points over there. Obviously taking on the top dogs themselves, the Infinity, in that last fight. But they have, you're right, they have been climbing and doing a lot better, really impressing us in the progress of this tournament. And I have to get a little bit further. Sure, those points are great. We'll see what more they can do. A team that I'm looking at and I'm slightly worried about, Blank, is Team Secret right now. I mean, they have not had a very good time at all this week. They have had pretty shocking results, to be honest. 2 points total. They have played 3 games, sure. They have got 5 games to play today, but 2 is not ideal.
Yeah, and you know, it's funnily enough because it's DRS and Team Secret both having the worst time of it. Now, more forgivable on Miramar, really, because there is obviously something happening that makes these northern rotations so difficult for both these teams. Less forgivable for both these teams on Erangel, because MS Chumbury has no difficulty getting from Yaz into the circle, which is very close to Kameshki, as well as pretty much DRS's spot, which is in Yaz as well. So I don't know what's happening with both these teams. Both very similar rotations coming out from these guys as well. So I think having a closer look at them, maybe today, would be a good idea.
I think this is the first time we've actually seen some fighting on the Tumasada Hills, really, Blank. And no circles have sent out this way, certainly not for us on the mic. But it's good to see that MS Chilbury were prepped for it. And the question for me is, did the Infinity prep for those fights on Tumasada Hills as well? Because it feels like that's something maybe they should have been aware of. And if they're just getting rolled up on like that, was it just a freak accident? Speaking of freak accidents, Freak has an accident on the rocks downstairs. Not going to be happy about that. Enigma Galaxy lose their player.
Yeah, down to 3 now, which is slightly unfortunate. Again, they're not doing that badly. 57 points is very good coming into this league play, and it almost sits them very happily to get into the Super Weekend now with no problems at all. I think when you get this Western Circle, though, there's some very specific positions around the map which are very important to take up nice and early, and that's what Reject has so far, which is on this ridge side, just to the west side of La Driera. There's 2 really good compounds here. Reject has one of them, FaZe has the other, and you can see that, well, we can see on our maps right now that both teams have players off the western road, and they're just playing as scouts, which is absolutely fine. Nia playing as a solo has managed to take down one of the Nova players. I believe that might have been a flush. It was. So now Nova's down to 3, and that happening versus one guy is fairly unfortunate.
Yes, far from ideal. I think that was Jimmy who went down there for Nova. So he won't be standing up again. Not this round, anyway. They have to play on with 3, although their split is fairly solid. And we've seen them hold 2 sides of a road before, Blank, this Nova squad.
Yeah, it's nothing that they can't do. Stalwart, on the other hand, I think that for this team, there has to be massive changes in today's league play. To be honest with you, if they want to get into the Super Weekend, in fact, because they are sat on hardly any points at all. Next circle pops, head out to the west side of the map, very, very westerly, and pretty much that dark spot on that mountain and all the way to the west of it is unplayable ground. You know, that is a crushing circle, to say the least, because so much of this circle now you can't play it, because there'll be a massive crunch of teams now where they're going to be in the trash compactor, and some people are going to get like absolutely decimated amongst the chaos.
I feel like Reject have the strongest position for when this circle settles. The question is, can they hold on to it? Like, there's a lot of teams on their eastern side, right, who are going to be looking, and I feel like Nova might be first up to bat there.
Yeah, again, it's difficult to get up to this ridge side though, John, and that's the difficulty. Nia, obviously, it's a quick kill onto Jimmy. It's an easy one. When you're playing as a solo like that, it's very, very easy to get away with those little kills, because, you know, there's more sense that you're going to be able to know a team's in that location if there's 4 of them. One of them's arm's going to, like, stick out a window somewhere, you know it. DRS, though, again, struggling on this northwest side, but it is versus Enigma Galaxy. You're only down to 2, so this should be easy enough. But again, for Miramar, DRS as well as Team Secret need to do better on this one. And Team Secret historically were always a good Miramar team, but that was when Yuhai was in the lobby with them. Now he's off the BTR. They've had a replacement on that side, and for some reason, Team Secret's just not able to make it happen. Regardless of that, Yudu Gang players in Fredo and Jumper, now Team Secret players, were also kings of Miramar. So there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be still good on this map.
If you're going to farm a couple of points, I mean, not to be mean or anything, but BC Swell might be the best targets to do so against there. Zessi getting taken down actually by FaZe, who finished that one away. A little bit less threat around the way. BC Swell still in the fight, 3 players alive. Final player for Infinity down the hill, and maybe actually looking for more. Order finds one, sprays around the side, and it works out on the broad side as well. Swings out for another. Doubles up, and Order looking to find the 3rd and final player standing. King moves in for the backup. Just this against the world.
Yeah, that's a double defeat coming through from Nova. Nade goes through the window, won't quite take down anyone as of yet. And that is a nice little spray down, which will take down the final players. And Order picks up a lot of those kills, with Nia actually stealing away one of them. So although the Infinity down to 1, they're slowly racking up some elimination points.
Oh, hang on a minute. Oh yeah, that was that DRS just getting sprayed down in the smoke. That's unfortunate. Far from ideal. Certainly plenty of defeats going on there. Genesis Dogma, they lose Satar. On the forwards push towards Pubgmobile's position, northeast side. Circle will crunch in at their back as well. We got on over to the FaZe hillside hole.
Oh dear me, this is a really, really nasty circle. That is all open plains now. There's the hillside that you have to come down from that Latriera position. Other than that, yeah, there's really nowhere to go. So vehicles are going to be extremely important. I don't know what Divine's doing right now.
He's trying to get into the thick of it and go for the fights. Oh my god! Reggie just rolls on into the garage. They're getting shut down, but goodness me, that was bold. That was bold. I'll give him that.
Oh, it's a jump scare for me. I'm so sorry. I turned into a chipmunk in that moment. Oh my lord. Okay. Oh, nice one, Reggie. I think that at least 6 to 8 are going to be afraid of reject going forward. That was a great angle on that to watch that from, actually.
I've come to visit on Brookcake!
Yeah.
Just coming in, sailing in.
Are you interested in Lord and Savior, PUBG Mobile?
Oh, I love it so much. That's one of my favorite clips ever. Yeah, oh dear. FaZe struggling in the fight across the ridgeline with Team Secret as they've moved down from the northern side. They're going to have plenty to deal with, but Genesis Dogma trying to hold out Pubgmobile right now. Daybot not up to the task there. As Attacker sends it down. 3 players alive for Pubgmobile and Bamboo, Reservoir.
Extremely important fight going on between Team Secret and FaZe. Obviously, it is one of the least scoring teams in the lobby versus the highest scoring team in the lobby. So, honestly, if they can win this fight, happy days for them. But already losing 1 is not good. Now just down to eye shots as well as Kid. They've somehow got to re-stabilize in this situation. But so many teams can see them off on that western side. And smokes are absolutely critical.
Those guys have vision over onto Stalwart on the northern end, and this push from 4 rivals moving in between the fight between Team Secret and FaZe. Some might say that's unwise, but 4 rivals, they might actually have picked the perfect time to be moving into this spot.
I mean, 4 rivals, they've not been having a good time of it over this league play, and it's not what we've come to expect, but now they demand restitution in the form of some eliminations. Come through a beautiful grenade on the side, as they're sweeping up to take down FaZe. This is a nice push.
Ventores around the corner, and there's backup from the back lines as well. The other building holding as a stalwart position. Ventores gets some healing off, or looks to anyway. I don't think that might be the wrong time to do it. Oh, Ventores around the side of the building. Has the backup from the teammate and actually gets out of the building. Bullshot now on the same sight lines. The res not coming through just yet for 4 rivals, and there's more damage pouring on through. How are FaZe holding on to this one? I'll never know, but Bullshot has gone down, and Vintor is in a 1v2.
Team Secret can maybe come up to clean this fight out. Realistically, if they can get onto this position, it's actually safe for them. They just need to fly through these extra 2 teams. So wetting out a little bit, perhaps getting a knock pure effect, but Ventores still going, finds another, but finally it will be FaZe eliminated. But Team Secret need to take this chance, but so many shots are going their way. It's not likely they're long for this world.
Oh, last player, Kid, standing tall, or trying to anyway. Stalwart have the off angle. If Kid just holds on this tree and doesn't get spotted, as I say, as he takes damage from across the way, Stalwart are going to have to move. So is he, to be fair, but so is Stalwart. And that might be the time you can get up and over this ridge. And Buru looking to maybe got that. It's so tricky on this northeastern side.
Really is. BTR, though, very calm within this circle. Swung down from that south side into a fairly decent position with the only compound within this circle now, and 4 players alive. They're looking good here, John. They're looking very good.
Itron commanding the circle right now. 6-2-8 on the eastern side. They might have a better time in terms of picking up those kills. 3 players alive in a pretty solid spot. Kid just doesn't want to move. He wants to let Stalwart push in first, and Stalwart seem hell-bent on not letting that happen. Interesting. See if that moves further. The bike is there. The spray from Kid. If he takes a bullet, he's dead, but we'll get another heal off. 3 players alive. 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 3 players alive Oh,
I mean,
maybe not.
Pika's just holding out. He has no meds available to him, so he's going to go down at some point. Nova's managed to get through this once again. And again, we said it yesterday, they weathered the storm. So they're here within this circle. Stalwart rocking up on them, but both go down. Oh, okay.
He sends them back. Return to sender. Fantastic spray down coming through from Order from Nova. Now, that's less to deal with as another crash. Potentially looking to come on through from a couple of those players. Nick Galaxy now getting eliminated. It's going to be this Eastern Crunch. 7 teams remain, but I don't think that number's going to stay that high for too much longer, Blank.
Burra. Oh my lord, how did that nade not hit him? King. A fair amount of shots coming his way from MS Chamburi. Just 2 players from them. Ponzai is down. TG13 still up and rocking though. Pambura finally goes down to a nade from Order. Which is a good start for them. King not likely to get back up again, but it's 6-8, starting to clear some angles, but Yu Yang going down is not good. And Deadeye's guys, once again in this circle, their Miramars have improved 200%, I'd say.
Incredibly so. It's great news for the Deadeye's guys. Get a load more points on board. Fantastic time to do it. MS Chamburi will fall to the hands of Nova. So many teams are wont to do in this circle, it seems, but all 4 alive for Bigatron. And on the south side of the circle, nobody else near their position. You've got to wonder who's going to be up to the task of taking them down here, Blank.
I love this from Luxley. Luxley, we always knew how good of a player this guy is when it comes to long-range engagements. I also really like the way that Nova kind of used Pambura as literal shark bait for MS Chamburi, waiting for him to try and take that elimination point, only to get absolutely run down by the remaining players from Nova. But 6-8, Bigatron. 3Z hits one.
Order. Oh, he's going to be backed off. He can't quite hold that angle. Luxley, he's not having too much luck hitting these players, I have to say, but he is certainly scaring them. He's making them fearful.
That's all he has to do, really, because his job at the moment is to keep them away from Bigatron's position. With the next circle centering up on that compound, like, his main goal is not to blow up, but rather is to just keep players back and at bay. If he goes down, it's disastrous.
That's true. That's true. He wants to maintain that distance. He wants to, act like he doesn't know anybody. He's staying away from everyone. He's like, no, thank you. He's no, thank you. Deadeye's guys, though, they do take a knock, and they'll have to push towards Bigatron in the meantime.
Nova, though, Paraboy extremely low, trying to heal up. I think he's got boosters. Not sure how many first aid kits he's got on board. Does get one off. Luxy continues his barrage upon Deadeye's guys, who are very much struggling to get out of position. Nice headshot comes through. Luxy will dispatch of on top.
Oh, Shifu now moving in the open ground. This is where the kills could start to come through for Bigatron. I'll be honest, Blank, I don't see anyone else winning this game. I don't think Bigatron are going to be able to be taken down in this position. There's 2 players from Nova. With Luxy on the suppression on this ridge side, it's pretty much open season right now.
It's very well set up, and this is a situation. Oh, goodness me. I know you're saying he wasn't having much luck with these shots, but he doesn't need luck. All he needs is skill. As he hits another one, and Zuxi's moved up into position. Yuhai looking to move out, find some more. Liquid goes down to Water, though.
Okay. Yuhai's on the case. See if they can pick that one up. Deadeye's guys eliminated, and now Bigatron have only 1 fish left in the barrel. As Nova struggling for all their worth, and find Yuhai. In comes the send as well. Order. He's not going to find Zuxi, as he says, whoa, I've last played out here. I'm not going to give up the position. I'm not going to give up the circle. They know the Order has to push forwards. It's 1 versus 3. I mean, you've still got Yuhai alive, technically, so it's 1 versus 2, really, effectually. Order knows the position, he knows the ridgeline. Zuxi looks for the spray. Luxy has come down from the hill now and can push on up. Order low, taking more damage, and it's going to be Zuxi to close it down for Bigatron. It was open season, and they come home with the prize buck.
Really well played to Bigatron now. I think that is the Bigatron of old. Those setups are so deadly because they know exactly what each player has to play in every single role. Yuhai, they kind of just let him run rabid, and that's absolutely fine with Liquid playing a more supportive role, Luxy in the back, with Zuxi playing flank. It is so well set up there, there's absolutely no way that anyone's going to take it down regardless what happens. Still Order able to have a really good run of it, but eventually they did ask the respectable gentleman to leave the courtroom in the end and take that chicken dinner for themselves.
No, none of that. Sort of.
None of that.
Get rid of it. That's a very niche reference. Well, I say niche, it's a whole country, but still. It's no, absolutely fantastic setup from Bigatron to be able to close that one down. Although I have to say the kills were fairly evenly spread across this lobby. It didn't feel like there was a super standout in terms of those kill counts. I think Bigatron managed to get up towards... I don't even think they managed to break double digits there. So there was quite a lot of disparate kill points coming through with all of that drama on the eastern side.
I think for Bigatron, they were the common goal team there, which was get the chicken dinner and take that 15-pointer. Because the way they'd set themselves up, it wasn't for getting those eliminations early on. It was more for picking up some elims towards the end of the game, getting a fair few defeats through, but it was mainly about those 15 points. Order was on an absolute tear this match though, and it feels like he has not at all no water's been thrown on the fire for this guy over the last day. He has stayed just as hot.
Or even if it has, it's just been vaporized, turned to steam. Yeah. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite hot enough to take down Bigatron this time on Miramar. They were just that little bit hotter. Speaking of hot, Jason, over to you.
I don't know what I do with that. Thanks, John. He must be in a really good mood today because I don't think he's ever given me a compliment like that. But, you know, I did put a little bit of extra effort in this morning. I washed my face. But welcome back, everyone, to the desk. We got Claris and Professor Tarzan here as well, who are just as hot. But speaking of hot, Bigatron, 24 points. Nova as well sitting there at 20, but we were talking about Bigatron. They've had, I think, 2 chicken dinners now this entire event so far. The first one, they were kind of gifted it. But this one, Claris, you were saying they played the position really well.
Oh yeah, definitely so. And we've got to give props to Tarzan. He got the prediction correct. But as soon as they're in the south side of this position on the western circle, we're talking back and forth about where they can go and stuff like that. They had the option to just pile into that compound if they wanted to, but that was not the right choice. What was the right choice before they even made it? We're talking about a 3-1 split would be good here. And lo and behold, Luxy goes and takes that high ground and uses that as a vantage point, not only to be able to like take down people from up on high, but also just put the fear in the rest of the lobby. If there is someone up there, even just lurking, not necessarily shooting, then it's so difficult for anybody to move anywhere near the other 3. So beautiful stuff by Bigatron. Really, really well done.
And the thing that before playing that 1-3, they play a very good 2-1-1 with 2 to make sure that it's clear from the south side, right? So that is a very, very important bit of macro that we've seen there. When you have a spot in the circle, sometimes you're a little bit tempted to not move, but they made at least 3 to 4 times of the adjustment to their splits, and they just know exactly what to do. So yes, quite earned that chicken dinner, I have to say.
Well, my pick didn't pan out too well, 3 points, but to be fair, neither did Claris's with 5, but it was obviously better than mine. But you know what, we don't have to be right all the time, because I'm saving all my correct predictions into the finals anyways, where I'm going to get that right 100% of the time. And if I don't, Tarzan will shave his head. We can see here the MVP, though, Order. 8 eliminations, 987 damage, but the team contribution percent, well, that's interesting.
72? What? What are the other? Where were the other guys? Were they on a break? Were they on a picnic? What is this? This is ridiculous. I mean, the thing is, though, Nova, I think right now what they've done in this week is enough. So to be able to even just get a few more points on the board here is enough. Yeah. And these circles are not easy to push into. They were having a really rough time on that east side, considering that almost every other team than BTR was on that eastern side. So you're going to have a lot of eliminations going on between all of those teams as they scrap to try and find even just a few ridge lines.
Okay, we're talking about important games. One huge game for teams, that's huge for BTR, that's extremely important for Nova, but also for Dead Eyes guys. Like, they're now in 37 points, and we thought they might go down, right? So that is huge. That's going to shake things up incredibly.
We can see here, speaking of shaking things up, top 16, TJB is the threshold right now at 21 points. Stalwart have been able to push past this one, though, as we were mentioning them at the top of the day, of not doing too well. And as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of teams here with 4 matches played above and below, technically, that threshold. So TJB, I'm getting a little bit worried for them. I mean, realistically, can they be knocked out of top 16 for the overall Super Weekends? And the answer is kind of yes. They're in 12th place at 163 points. It is possible. So TJB, really need to qualify here. They really need to step up in their last matches of the day.
Yeah, they could be, as you say. There is a question mark there as to whether or not, like the rest of the lobby, going into that weekly finals Super Weekend would be able to really topple that position, or enough teams topple that position, right? But still, if you're TJB, you want more than this. And we know that they're capable. I'm not going to get you to ask me what place team in. I think they are right now. Apparently Imperium stole my shtick. Thanks, Imperium. But other than that, yeah, I think that they should be able to still retain a spot into that grand final.
This is why we can't have nice things sometimes. Imperium just steals it all. But for you guys at home, there is things you could be stealing away, though it's not illegal. It is going to be the fan favorite vote you guys can be participating in. And when you do within the Esports Center, you have a chance to win various pink level items. So make sure you guys are doing that. Make sure you guys try to get as many unlocked for your account as you possibly can. You know, Kalaris, if I were to ask you, who's your fan favorite so far? Who is it?
Oh, it's really difficult to not say Action. I'm trying to think of anyone else other than Action. It might have to be Action. I think we're going with Action.
I think so. Tarzan, what about you?
I'm going with Newsy. I feel like I picked him before, you know, the show, the tournament even started, and want to stick, you know, to my pick. And he's been playing phenomenally. We talked about being subbed out for good reasons for the team, and coming back in just hot as ever when it comes to the fragging power as well. So I'm going to stick with Newsy.
Okay. Respectable. I will give my opinion on it because we have to talk about what's going on down here. Which team will miss out on this Super Weekend? Let's know your thoughts in chat. I mean, it's kind of starting to become a little bit obvious with the way the standings are breaking out. But again, we still have a lot of matches to be played here for the teams outside of top 16. And we still have a lot of time until the next match. You can see about 4 to 5 minutes until then. So we're going to head to a break. And when we come back, we will be jumping back in on over to Erangel.
Danny, ready for abstract.
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration and the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Well. Professor Tarzan sitting on 100% prediction rate today. He has the most correct predictions overall, but will he be correct here in match 2? My gut is telling me no. My gut is telling me that my prediction is going to be correct, but we'll get into that in a little bit of time as you are just joining us here, and we're heading back over to Erangel for the first time today. Remember, we'll be having 3 Miramars throughout the day and only 2 Erangels in groups A, C, D, and E will be participating in them. So again, maybe get some screenshots in. Maxman, I mean, you know, I'm not going to rip on you, Max Ben. You're not here. I'll be nice. I'm going to just keep it between me and myself. But Erangel's going to be interesting because we still have teams really sitting low on the leaderboards. And the fact is, one chicken dinner can technically propel you high enough to most likely qualify you. But teams like Team Secret, who are sitting at the bottom of the table or sitting down towards the bottom of the table with them and DRS, they had 4 and 2 points respectively at the start of the day.
Yeah.
They need something big to happen.
Yeah, I think Tarzan, your concerns lie with TJB, right?
Very much so. Let's bring out some math, right, and stats. They've got 21 points right now. They're in Group A, so they've only got 2 more games to play.
Yeah.
Let's say they average 10 points per game. That brings them to 41, which is the cutoff mark of one of the Super Weekends. We need a little bit more than that. But when's the last time we've seen them got 10 points, a game? Not very frequently, right? But it's fine if they've done very well in the past Super Weekends. In fact, they've qualified to both, but they've only got 163 points. And when we track down the table with teams playing one Super Weekend, we're averaging around 120. So if you just allow them to go back in and do half as good as any of the Super Weekends before, they're going to surpass you. So TJB really needs huge games right now more than ever. But it's not just them. We're talking about some strong teams that needs a bounce back, and Star Wars one of them. They usually just gear things up. No, that's not the right term. They switch on the correct gear to bounce back towards the second day anyway.
They switch into the correct gear. You don't switch on a gear. Tarzan, please. How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
English.
I mean, I am right, but I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. But you're right, though. I mean, Stalwart, they did show us, though, in the first week in league play, fantastic. Then the Super Weekend day 1, not bad, but day 2, day 3, they really struggled. But then later on the next week, they did definitely maintain that level of play we come to expect out of Stalwart. We'll see if they can do that here as we get into our predictions. And Klaris, you can go first.
Well, I've had my hand on my mute button the entire time because Floof was so angry that I didn't pick Stalwart in the previous game that she was barking all the time. So I'm going to have to go with Stalwart here because they need to bounce back. They don't necessarily need to bounce back, but they're a good enough team to bounce back here after having some rough games.
I feel like it's unfair because you guys saw the stats that they had when it comes to this match. What about you, Tarzan?
No, I'm with Floof more than with James, but I'm going with Stalwart as well. Because we talked about them being one of the most dominating team, and we had concerns with them before in day 1 league play, but they always just find the switch and to start doing well again. I think this is the game that they will start, bouncing and just play the usual crazy style of absolutely eliminating everyone.
Okay, well, I went with Infinity because Infinity are 100,000% going to win this match. There is no doubt in my entire fiber of being that they're not going to win this game at all. And if they do lose, Tarzan did say he would shave his eyebrows live on air. It's time to head over to our commentators, though, as John and Blank are going to take us into our second match of the day.
Into game number 2. That's right. We're going right on over Erangel. Again, fairly accessible for fairly everyone on this plane path. No one should be too bothered. Blank. You've had a cheeky little rest, a little time to think. How long? Like Stalwart. Yeah, a little bit of time. The Stalwart gang have a lot of backing from the desk this time around, and I mean they stepped up just a little bit in that last game. They got a couple more points on board. They're not in that elimination zone anymore. That red zone at the bottom of the table, up to 22 points over all the Super Weekend in 15th place. Are you backing them in terms of back on form?
Well, backing them in terms of getting a chicken dinner, but. They look a little bit better, yeah. I'll give them that. I'll say that for sure.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I want to see some improvements from this team. Adding down to Novo right now on Erangel. Maybe there is a chance for them, but again, it's Bigatron's in the lobby, Genesis Dogma's in the lobby, so it's a bit of a rough rotational path up towards that eastern side. Luckily this time they don't have to pick up vehicles from farm. I think this could have been a disastrous game if they had one of those west to east plane paths, in which case they'd have had to drop in farm, pick up vehicles there and head down to Novo. Luckily they can drop straight onto Sosnovka in the first place. So honestly, that prediction could have just gone completely down the drain, just purely on plane path in my opinion.
But the circle as well is pretty dramatic on this time around, certainly. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams handle this, because it's not fully confirmed to be on the mainland. It's likely, but that is a lot of dead ground. If you're going to commit to the mainland, it's about 40% of this circle is actually playable, Blank.
Yeah, did Jason predict Infinity, by the way?
I think he did.
Not playing.
Jason! Oh no, Jason!
Oh, now dear. What are you gonna do?
Oh dear. There's nothing you can do. That's all.
They're winning in his heart. That's fair enough. That's okay. That was our evil laugh, if you guys didn't know. But it's Tongji about to pick up that spot down towards Sosnovka military base and reject up towards Ferry Pier, which is standard position for them. You know, 628 also not in this lobby at the moment, so Cryptics are going to pick up their spot down towards Primorsk. So nice little stuff for both these teams. And honestly, I would say Reject's going to have a better time of it, because I think 628, they're a type of team that really does go out their way to pick up ground that shouldn't necessarily be theirs. Their aggressive splits sometimes definitely cause them problems in the future, but has caused more problems for Reject in terms of Reject not really being able to predict when 628 is going to appear in their neighborhood. This time, I do think that Cryptics is going to spend a lot more time down towards Primorsk and is most likely going to head up towards Quarry side rather than going to mess with Reject, to be honest with you. This might be a good game for Reject to get some more points. Only 28 at the moment. Definitely not safe as we head into the second game. Remember, only 3 more games after this, and for Rejects, probably not much more. Let's have a look how many games they have played. Let me pull up my stats here, John. My statistics. So they've had 4 total. So only 2 more games today for Reject, including this one. To pick up, they're probably going to need around about 15 or more points, right? I think 15 is really pushing your luck, but that's still like almost a 7-point average per game.
Yeah, they should have. Wait, a Reject? No, Reject should have 4 more games today, right?
Oh no, yes, you're right. Sorry.
They should have 4 more games. 8 played total.
My brain!
So they played 4 already.
Okay, they got way more time to do it. 3-point average. You can do it, guys. This is simple. This is easy peasy.
There we go. I feel like Tongjabao is, for me, is the team that I am worried about. 21 points in 6 games. So just use that maths and take it over to Tongjabao, and then we can talk about them in the same way.
That's fine. Okay, well that's around about 11-point average, I'm going to say, for that team.
Just making numbers up now.
I'm actually not, because 11-point average would put them on like 43, and I think 43 has been
That's
like
true. It would.
a fairly okay position. You know, that's still dangerous, but again, we came off that last league play of 36 points being the breaker, which was very strange, and I think that was more due to the fact that the Infinity had so much control over a lot of that lobby, and it was causing less teams to be able to get towards that top spot and a much more evenly spread terms of point scoring. So down towards the bottom side, it was the actual jump from 16th to 17th was very limited, but also it was a low point scoring that you have to get. I think that will be different this week, considering we do have some clear top dogs in terms of Nova, Enigma Galaxy, Genesis Dogma, and FaZe this time around, whereas people will still have to really battle out for that 16th place and above.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's very hard to call as well. A lot of these teams hanging around the boundary are teams that, certainly in week 1, we just never would have expected to be here, Blank. I mean, Tongjabao, Stalwart, even teams like Rico Infinity Team and Team Secret as well. The fact that all of these teams are here is kind of crazy to me. I definitely would have been able to predict this. It's been a journey. This tournament has.
It has been. And I will say one thing, though, John, is that for Team Secret, if they don't get a move on now, it's over, basically. Because sat at 4 points, unlike a team like Tongjabao, who at least has a chance in hell right now, with 2 more games to go if they have some breakout moments, there is a chance for them. But for Team Secret, it really is a case you can't let the foot off the gas now. It has to be full throttle forward. You have to get on the right gear to get into this one. So I am worried for these teams.
It's not easy. It's not an easy time to be a PUBG Mobile Pro in the East League. Well, unless you're the Infinity or one of the teams towards the top. FaZe Clan obviously sitting pretty smugly at the top of the pile on 75 points there. I wonder how smug they are. I wonder how smug they look right now.
Honestly, I wouldn't say very smug, to be honest with you. I think this has been a case of, come on, FaZe, this is what we expected from you, and now it's a case of gritting their teeth and... Did he just T-pose as he died? Amazing. He's like, you may have the last laugh, but I will have the final T-pose.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just got to do it to him. Getting that T-pose in. Enigma Galaxy, they lose 2 of their players. Unfortunate, but Cryptics, they are going to get 2 more defeats on the board, get those points on, and keep on trucking up towards, 44 points now after those 2 points. They're up in 7th place on the overall standings when you include all of the other 4 teams that aren't playing this game.
Yes. Looking at the circle very quickly, though, you are right. It's a very drastic circle, dramatic in its own ways. And I think that, there is potential that we actually head down to Sosnovka with this one. Very unlikely, but there is definitely potential here. With so much water in this circle as well, like you have limited landmass to play, especially with that channel going through the middle of through the islands, right? So it's a bit awkward. This one, so a lot of teams are centering themselves around the bridge just in case they do have to make that crossing, which is smart. I think for Cryptics, they've spent a lot of time in Primorsk now, and I think that a lot of that advantage they had earlier on of getting into a better position, maybe around Gatka, maybe towards those nice compounds on the eastern side of Quarry, they're gone now because they've just let other teams get into position. One of those teams is Nova, who are very safe now. So we can all kind of put that aside and say to ourselves, you know what, Nova are getting into the Super Weekend, and they can start to bump on that 126 points that they made in the Super Weekend, that first one, and then get into the finals. And it's happened before. I remember last PMGC, they didn't hit one Super Weekend and ended up winning the whole thing. So it's Nova Tings, it's Nova Tings.
Nova Tings, I like it. Circle pops southwest again, so it's going to be down towards Primorsk. Cryptics over in the town already. Pretty happy with that. You got FaZe coming down the western coast as well. Rico Infinity team, they're just passing Hospital, and they're going to be packing in behind FaZe by the looks of things to the northwest side of Quarry.
God, the way he leaped out that vehicle into the back spot really did worry me. I thought that was going to be bad times for him. But Rico Infinity team, they've, like you said, moved past through Hospital. They're moving down through that fielded area. Fairly okay rotation, especially coming from Severny. It's a pretty smart one. Again, for DRS, these northern rotations, they're rough for both the teams. DRS heading down from Yaz this time, not impeded by MS Chumburi in that location, so DRS might have a better time of it. I think at the beginning of the game, it was a case that DRS would bully the Sharks, and then the Sharks realized that, they have very sharp teeth, and MS Chumburi started fighting back, and DRS like, wait, what? No, this was going to be our free drop spot. What's going on? For Team Secret, on the other hand, it was just a case of we have taken the most awkward drop spot in the game if it heads down towards the south, and Erangel has always been rough for them because of that.
Pubgmobile made that crossing. No one guarding them. Ah, well. Maybe no one expected, the Infinity on playing. So no one was on.
I know, right? They're like, no one's going to be coming across that western side. Infinity aren't in the game. But Pubgmobile are like, oh, we'll take this chance. We'll take it now. We do have some stats on the side of our screen that you guys can't see, but I'm going to rattle them off anyway, just for the guys at home watching. So for our top 5 eliminations on Erangel, I think this is total over everything. Godsunny currently sits at the top, tied with Satar with 52 elims apiece, which is really good. But more impressive than that is Genesis Dogma actually have 2 teams on the top elim bracket for Erangel, with Daybot being in 3rd with 44. So Genesis Dogma, 100% I would say that these guys are living up large on Erangel. They're a very, very good team.
DRS actually taking shots from Genesis Dogma. I say Genesis Dogma.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
No,
and that's why I do what I do. DRS getting rolled up on by Nikhil there. Not gonna take too much damage though, just an off-angle found. Pubgmobile, remember this team needs these performances. 2 games left to play, and they are struggling as well. Bigatron, oh near. I feel like they've rolled into this exact crater before and had this exact same thing happen to them, Blake.
Yeah, no, it's happened a fair few times, and to be fair, for a lot of these other teams, if you study Bigatron, this is a very typical rotation for them, and it's quite an easy spot, hit it up, and if you've seen it happen before, why not go for it again? Genesis Dogma coming again, BC Swell. Okay, this is not great that Booms goes down here. Booms is a very, very crucial player to the team. But then again, they're fighting on 2 fronts at the moment. They're against DRS as well as BC Swell, and they've got a couple of knocks either side. But again, it's only so much a 4-man team can do versus 8. It's a bit more rough. Stalwart taking the time, heading down towards the very, very southwest part of Sosnovka. I'd imagine they're looking for that boat and maybe pass into Primorsk itself.
be trying to get into Primorsk, but it centers up on the land. This is probably one of the kind of shifts we could have seen. It could have been a little bit further north, but I feel like there's enough territory for enough people in this next circle to be safe. But this eastern side is where I'm really looking at being this traffic jam.
Yeah, I think that we'll see where these teams do come in. DRS continuing their approach on the eastern side. I think that coming across this field into Quarry, you know, if a team can find a nice central spot in Quarry and have some good oversight, then yeah, this eastern side is going to be really quite rough here, John. Reject, though, another team that I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. They're still over towards Ferry Pier. They've played it very safe so far, and this makes sense. You know, they've got 4 more games to play, but Erangel is one of your like safest spots to make those games happen. So if they can like play it out safe here, maybe get like a top 5, top 6. You know, that's good enough for them. Remember what we said, like 3 points a game, see them fairly safe here. And already I think that's one elimination going their way. They fly over towards Quarry side though. Let's see what they can do with that.
Pubgmobile as well, one of their last 2 games today. Looks like they're losing players to Reject. Not having the best of luck there. Enigma Galaxy, I mean, Lord holding in the side of this building. Turilov's not going to be able to spot him out just yet, but goes into the building, maybe looking for the flank, and out he pops, down he falls, and now the 1 versus 2 in this compound, actually 3. There's another of the Dead Eyes guys come through, gets the flush, gets some damage on as well to some of the people pushing up on the building, but gets cut down as he moves across the door. Another defeat as Enigma Galaxy fall.
Enigma Galaxy, unfortunate stuff there. Won't be able to get any more points. I mean, they're already sound very much in a safe position. They tried to roll into this one, didn't work out. Doesn't bear very well, though, for yourself on Erangel, struggling with this kind of rotation on that south side. Stalwart, though, I believe that they rotated up through that western bridge eventually. So just got as much healing as possible from the entirety of Sosnovka, then pushed through that way. FaZe, though, in another really strong spot. I mean, Reject going up against them at the moment. Reject down to just 3 players now. We're FaZe sat very comfortably with 4. And we've already lost a lot of players in this lobby, John. We're down to 48 with 15 teams alive. So there are a fair few weak teams here that are just ready to be plucked away from the game.
Absolutely. It'd be very, very tricky. I just want to talk about Pubgmobile again for a second, because I've said that, you know, they've only got 2 games left to play. They have 2 players and they're on a 1-1 split right now. They are disparate. So if they don't get a good result here, it's very likely that we might not be seeing them in that Super Weekend. And if they aren't in the Super Weekend, Blank, they have 168 points in the Super Weekend. And that is a dangerous position. If we don't see them qualify, they could be the bubble team moving forwards towards those finals.
Yeah, and being in that spot is terrifying. When you're watching another 15 games from all these teams that actually make it into the Super Weekend, it's not a good spot to be in. Cryptics finally start to push out and have an outpost on the top side of Primorsk. This is fight between FaZe and Reject, which I'm really taking a look at. Beer 11 takes a lot of damage. Nice Molotov, but the nade goes through. Will find one and another.
Ragey now, last standing for Reject. We've seen him do wonders in these almost exact spots. Certainly, if you remember that fight against Bigatron in the warehouses. Able to take a 1 versus 4 as Vintorres moves forwards, takes some damage from a nade around the side and across the way as well. MR5, maybe even looking for the flush. I feel like they know where Ragey is. Bullshark sweeps the angles around the side. He's outside the back of the building now. The space of taking control of that, but they're going to have to swap one out. MR5 falls in a reposition for Ragey. Looks for it out the window. Bullshark finds him and gets the job done. Defeated finally. In the throes of it, Ragey falls.
You kind of felt like he could do it as well, right? Like,
it did.
Started that fight out strong. So yeah, really well done to Ragey once again. I think that the rest of the team is not looking as strong as we would hope to, but Cryptics, they fly into this one, and FaZe just get decimated slowly but surely. Cryptics will pick that one up with a nicely placed Molotov, which cuts off a lot of the escape routes for FaZe. So it was a well done push from Cryptics and give them time to get into the circle, which heads up towards just the northwest of Quarry. And there's a lot of fielded area around here, so Quarry's a very safe place to be in. Nova's currently right in the midst of it at the moment.
Changing up as we start to crunch down on those teams. FaZe, Reject, BC Swell, Enigma Galaxy. I feel like with that game, BC Swell, we thought maybe they could make it into one super weekend. You know, maybe they'd have a chance. But with that, I just don't think it's possible. Blank, I know we counted them a little bit out of those super weekend standings, but I still had a little bit of hope. But as time draws on, I'm coming around to your way of looking at things.
Thank you. But it would have been cool at least to see BC Swell in the final Super Weekend, if not for like a little bit of restoration of faith in the team, but also to make it a little bit more interesting, because you basically have a team sucking up points from other teams that might need it, which would have made things very, very awkward for some teams down towards the bottom side, particularly Tongji Bao. It might have even made it easier for them, to be honest with you. Stalwart, though, will heal up their teammate. Still running with a 4 at the moment, so the boys' prediction might be good here. But I still have my doubts. And I'll reserve those. Going forward.
Fair enough. I think that's fair enough. You know, Stalwart, all 4 alive, 1 knock. Trying to pick up the pieces, getting back all together now. Senke breaks the ridge line, but ducks down behind it. The silhouette didn't go well for him. Action repositions. Lazy Boy takes the taps from top. Gets put down on knee. Right on the edge of the next circle. Going to have to move just a little bit further to get into the next one.
Yeah, rock up on Cryptic's position. This could be really good for them if they can find a couple of more eliminations here. Senke very easily taken down. Action goes quite low, but it's fine for him. Back in the midst of it. Chapo's coming back, though. I think this is the wrong choice. Yeah, decides against it, moves away. Down 1 Gaming, I believe that he just took down 2 players of Tongji, 1 player of Tongji Bao at least. Now just down to the 1 player left alive.
It's not ideal. 11 teams still remaining. There's no defeat points there to Tongji Bao. They're going to have to just keep on trucking for as long as they can to try and get these placement points in a crucial position. Almost for their tournament life, Blank. After this, they're only going to have 1 game left to play. And that is not the position you want to be in when you're sat on, I believe, at the start of this game, they had 21 points total at the start of this game. So they'll get 1 or 2 placement points off this game. And what, 22 points? And you want to be getting at least, 15 to 20 points in that last game. And even then, that's a low boundary. If you're
it's a chicken dinner, essentially. It's a chicken dinner that they need, because realistically, chicken dinners are some of the only times that you'll breach that 20-point margin. Unless you come in second place with a crap ton of kills, but I just don't think that's Tongji Bao, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right. Not at the moment. They don't seem on form. Cryptics, again, rolling into Stalwart. Two defeats now. Make that 3 as they rack on up 1 more. Marshall under the cosh on that western end. And no one really actually close to competing for this spot blank on the west. It's everybody on the quarry there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these teams were assuming they'd be safer in Quarry. I don't think they were expecting this western shift over to this side, but Stalwart set themselves up in a very, very good position. It's hard to breach across those fields, but equally it's going to be hard for them to get out from here. Most likely going to have to go for a southern rotation if they do go for this. There's still 1 little insurgent from Cryptics here on Stalwart's position in terms of Marshall, but we're keeping an eye on Rico Infinity team because they've had a little bit of a fall from grace, in my opinion. I think they were very, very good. Anas really leading the team, but at the moment they're just not looking fantastic. Now, I could have to bow down to the big brains of Kalaris and Tarzan if Stalwart do win this game. It's looking more and more likely as we go on, especially with them finally finishing out that player from Cryptics. Now they have the entirety of the western side of the circle to themselves. Now, this is a top 3, regardless of what happens for Stalwart, in my opinion.
Ooh. Manhunt, it steps up, gets 1, but then gets batted back almost immediately. No elimination points, and not really getting too much in terms of that placement. It's far from ideal, so they are isolated to the chicken dinner. It's the all or nothing game next time we see Tongji Bao. But we won't be seeing them anymore here. Stalwart 4 players. There's a lot of teams with a lot of players still alive in this circle, Blank.
Yeah, we got down 1, Rico Infinity team, DRS, as well as Stalwart. So for DRS, I would say this game is very, very important to them. Stalwart's already racked up a huge amount of points on these super weekends anyway, but they still would like to make it back in. if not just to get that practice before you go into the finals. You do not want to go into that finals cold. So Stalwart really need to put up the pressure. There is ability here, as you can see. We get a really nice little flyby of the playing field. For Stalwart, they can move out from this position into the hay bales in front of the tractors. There's positions to play in. I think for them, though, they really do need to wait to the last moment because a lot of these teams will end up fighting each other anyway.
It's going to be a difficult crossing. If they can move out, I mean, they're moving out now. Look at that Pika moving forwards. If they take control of this circle now, they can stop everybody moving in. It's going to be so hard to breach across this field line. With that forward position from Pika, they can use that as a launching point. Team Secret trying to move in from the northern side now, but they are trapped down in the basement with Rico Infinity team. They're going back and forth, and it's jumper to fall for Dan stays tall. Nas goes low as well, takes a lot of damage. A lot of Rico Infinity team really suffering right now, but they're not falling, and crucially so, Black.
I mean, this fight is incredibly important for Team Secret. If they can control Rico Infinity team, they'll control that northern side. But 2 versus 4, it's not a likely scenario going forward for them, and they're clearing out positions with the Molotovs and they go. Apresco walks into one of his own, I believe. Will start burning out. Comes outside, he's like, please help.
How on earth did Anas not burn out there? Goodness me. Luckiest beggar in the game right now. Nobody else quite at that level. You can see in the background there, Stalwart moving out across the field, but Team Secret getting cut down one by one. They step up. The blade passes swiftly through. Rico Infinity team looking good, but okay. You can't do anything about those. That just happens sometimes.
That's a lovely grenade coming through from Rico Infinity. Down to 2 though, with a nice little nade that comes through from Team Secret in those last moments. Will remove a few of the players, but too little too late with Stalwart now into that top 3. Like I said before, with that position, it was almost inevitable that they would get this far. And versus D Xavier and the now very much damaged players from Rico Infinity team, I believe that the big brains have come through. They've come through strong here on the desk with both Tarzan as well as Kalaris predicting that Stalwart.
Oh, the Scry goes down. Being spotted across the way. Takes a tickle of damage from the DP as well, but I feel like Lamborghini cannot be stood up too long, especially with that smoke right next to him. Really the only cover. But look at the circle blank. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? Do you just try and not die first? Is that the game plan here?
This is a second place game, basically. This is how it works. This is how it's going to continue. SK Ton able to get some shots through, and I think a lot of this game comes down to the fact that Stalwart, that playing path at the beginning really sets them up very strongly because they don't have to contend with Genesis Dogma or any other team over towards Milta side. Pika's just sending out shots left, right, and center. Bidan last remaining. DXavier with 2. Yeah, this is a play for second place, and DXavier will happily pick that one up. And it's really unfortunate because I think that the only team that benefits here is Stalwart. A lot of the other teams that wanted those points went down early. Pika moving up now.
Okay, well, they take top, they take 1, and reposition is coming through from Stalwart. Frankie, bit of damage sent forwards, has a first aid. 1 first aid left for Lamborghini. Pika sends the nade up, but it's sent right on back as well. Oh, just a little bit long. That felt good. It felt on the money. But the Xavier, they are struggling for their lives right now. I think even, no, they're not quite going for that res over on top, but Lamborghini takes damage from the nade, and they are penned in. The blue zone will be pushing them forwards, and Stalwart so ready to pick these points up. The defeats just keep on pouring in. Just Frankie remains the last player for DXavier, and Stalwart come out roaring. The desk was right, and it is Stalwart to take the chicken dinner.
It had to happen at some point, but to be honest with you, I bow down to the desk. I 100% bow down. I don't deserve to be on camera, to be honest with you. Just have it on a single cam of John, to be honest with you, because I can't believe I ever doubted the boys. That was an incredible game though from Stalwart. But again, I do think that a lot of it comes down to that playing path. And it's something that Stalwart will have to continue to figure out in future, which is the fact that, you know, having that playing path, yes, is fortuitous to you, but you need to figure out how you're going to deal with getting those vehicles, especially if Bigatron's in the Super Weekend with you, as well as Genesis Dogma, you know, rooting around Milta. But it was a very, very good rotation. I think heading up on that Eastern Bridge nice and late, and then switching around to the other side, it was a good gamble from them. If it moves away from Quarry, they're set up in a really nice position. So all in all, I think Stalwart has just a fantastic understanding of the map of Erangel, where they can play, when they can play there, and they also have the chops to back it up. I do think Stalwart have been lacking over the past few games, but really here they show us that, you know, every single player on this team is a top fragger.
Absolutely, and they absolutely deserved that win. They played it to perfection. But really, the team on my mind, Blank, as they have been throughout most of this game, is PMGC.
Yeah.
They have one game left to play. They're right down towards the bottom of the tables. I don't think they got any points that game. There are 22 points total.
Yeah.
With one game left to play. They're in 17th place right now overall, and it's not looking good, right? There's everybody around them with 6 and 5 games played.
I will add a caveat to that though, John, because I think that although PMGC is on our minds, you know, I'm kind of counting them out now. I don't see that chicken dinner coming through, but there are 2 other teams in DRS and Team Secret who did have a really good chance in this game. It's one of the few chances they've been given recently from that northern rotation, not getting caught off, and still they were not able to do anything with it, and that worries me.
Well, some of the desks couldn't have been more right, and one of the desks couldn't have been more wrong. I'll leave you guys to remember who that was. Over to you guys.
Well, that is true. John would know quite a few things about being wrong. But yeah, you can't lose if you're not playing in the match. So technically, I was right. I was 100% right. Welcome back, everyone. And Stalwart Esports, you two picked them. Obviously, you know, we saw Professor Tarzan bad-ranking it off of you, Kalaris. But talk to us about this. This was not an easy match for them to win.
This was ridiculous. They were in the worst spot at the entire lobby going into Circle 2 especially, and then Circle 3 as well, trying to kind of figure out in their heads where we're going to go. We're on Military Island. What are we going to do? Are we going to swim it to Primorsk, or are we going to wait for that bridge? Tarzan, during this game, called it perfectly. They were just waiting, finding themselves the opportunity to go over the bridge, and then slowly wiggled their way through the rest of the pack. This was a masterclass of understanding where teams are at what points in these circles and finding themselves the right winning location.
Can't explain that better. You could see the thinking process that they've got all forecasts waiting on the northwestern tip of Sosnovka Island and thinking, do we swim? But they would lose all the cars, right? So they read of how the other teams would behave in the lobby with this almost, how should I say this, a sensible addiction to early center play. And they just edged in towards that western bridge in the final moments, but they did have shot stops as well. So it was not blunt. It was prepared. It was it was very, very nicely planned, right? So they slowly found that pacing in, go from one position to the next, and then just played it off whatever they could, right, from the positions given to them.
Well, one team who wasn't so fortuitous, TJB, 1 point. If I'm not mistaken, they should be now on 7 matches played. They have 1 left to go.
Yeah, they need like 19 points at least or something like that if they want to find themselves comfortable, or not even comfortable. I think it's just like barely scraping forwards, Tarzan.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine, like, if you say, hey, we can just pray, right? But 163 points, like, that is second from the bottom across all the teams that played both Super Weekends before. So they just need, you know, whatever card they've got in the past. I think this is more like a challenge for the staff, like for like Anders and coach. What do you say now to really unleash like the best side of the players? Like that is the toughest task as well. You need to understand your players, understand what makes them tick, you know, just say the right words within, you know, a few minutes practically.
Yeah, just, I mean, I've already figured out what they're supposed to be saying yesterday. If you remember, Tarzan, just get good. That's all I need to do.
That's right.
You can see here on the front page, pretty much all 10 of these teams should be qualified through. We've seen the like threshold kind of change throughout the last couple of weeks of what would get them into the actual Super Weekend. But let's be honest, I mean, the way these teams are looking, it should be pretty safe to say that they're going to get through. But as we move into the second page, this is where things get really tricky. TJB is not even qualified at the moment if we were to stop. 19 points, I don't even know if that would still be enough.
It might not be. I mean, it really depends on where that cutoff ends up happening, right? But considering that some of these teams still have games to go, MS Chonburi, for example, Rejects as well, Rico Infinity, only 5 or 6 games played each. This is going to be very rough for PMGC, especially considering what it's been a bit of a fall, right? We saw them at the very beginning of this tournament, winning out games, looking pretty strong, but now it's not just there.
Yeah, it's not just there indeed. And I don't know what to say for them, to be honest. I mean, they start off the entire event winning the very first match of PMGC 2021, and it's just been unfortunate for them, a little bit of a downward spiral ever since. And Obviously, there's still other teams out there still trying to fight for their chance to get in the top 16. And you guys at home, hope you're still fighting for your chance to get some permanent items unlocked. As long as you're watching within the Esports Center over on YouTube, you get these tokens, currency, to unlock permanent items for you. And also, below the stream, remember guys, all of us have to point down. All of you, even if you're holding Floof, point down.
Oh, she's looking. Whoa!
She's looking down. Hit the rewards
Well
button
done,
to get extra tokens as well to help work towards those permanent items. Why is Floof wearing a sweater is my question.
Well, because we had to match today, so there's a little bit of purple on it, you know. She's a cold pupper. But actually, important, I brought her on because it wasn't even us that predicted Stalwart. Remember, I said that Floof was angry that we didn't pick Stalwart in the previous game, and now she's here to reap the rewards. So, Jason, anything for Floof? No?
I don't know what to say. I have no
She
words.
gets a day rate.
Floof, hit me up on like Twitter or something. Let me know the next prediction that we should go for. Maybe I'll get one right. But it is going to be on Miramar. So remember that, Floof. It's going to be groups A, C, D, and E. So make sure when you feed me a team that's going to be playing, make sure they're actually playing in that match.
Oh wait, I'm getting word from Floof. She's saying Genesis Dogma. Is that because there's just dog in their name, Floof? I think so, probably. Yeah.
Right there.
Yes.
Well, that's a little bit of a a little bit unfair. That's a little bit of a cheese. We can see here though. We want to get your thoughts. Which ammo do you prefer, 5.56 or the 7.62? Obviously, talk about it in chat and let us know your thoughts and give us reasons why as well. Maybe it depends on the type of weapon you like to use. Maybe if you're like me, you just like to throw the bullets at the people. Doesn't work. Hence why I'm so bad at the game. Yeah, I mean, hey, I can throw pretty fast. I played baseball. I was a pitcher. You know, bullets go about 60 miles an hour, right?
Bullets.
That's a magic.
I don't know where we're going with this. Someone save me. I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know if we can head to break yet. I don't know if you guys have something else you want to talk about.
I have an
a
answer.
few minutes. Okay.
I go with the M4.
I go for it.
Because the Glacial. It's the best looking gun. It's the coolest gun. Go for the M4 with the 5.56. What do you think, Floof? She appreciates it too.
Like how she was angry earlier, yapping, and now she's not saying a word. She's camera shy.
Well,
she's looking into your armpits. So I mean, at least I know you smell good.
No, indeed. She's, I don't know. She doesn't really entirely like wearing the jumper. She kind of freezes up sometimes, you know? She's not super used to wearing them. But it's cold, so she's got to wear it.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can head to break here. When we come back, we're going to be having another match coming your way. It's going to be match 3. Remember, only 3 matches left to go throughout the day. And we'll see you guys on the other side.
For this flame path, we're going from Primals all the way up to just between Smith and Star. Hang on a minute. I don't think carpooling is a thing in PMGC. Oh! Then, to the side, get to the tree. That's your cover.
Get over here!
And get your teammate involved.
I don't know. I feel like this is a painful situation if you're Satar. Well, let's see if he has any tricks up his sleeve. This guy's got the moves. He's got the moves. Got the PMGC outfit. He looks clean. He's right up at the top of the car.
I'm gonna need backup. Who's gonna go in now?
Magic Man himself, Satar. But in comes another player to try and what for, and this time, he's got a gun. Okay, yeah, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, dodging cars is one thing.
Split coming out from Blue.
What happened? Huh? Oh no, what the hell?
Hang on a minute.
It's a 1v3!
1v3 Nova!
He's lying his weight, he's gonna line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is gonna be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow!
of the holes in the floor and they were surrounded. So well done to DXavier there to be able to make that one happen. Nova going versus Infinity. Actually, oh my goodness me.
Hang on a minute.
It's a 1v3!
1v3 Nova! My goodness me, Infinity, you've got to be happy with that one. A Lone Ranger out in the fields doing work for the Infinities as they stay alive. Nova get curtailed. Dealt with as Pika strikes finally. Moving forward, but around the side, Logan looks to rain in, but no, he goes down. And now it's just Mela looking for a 1 versus 2 here against Deadeye's guys as they push in. Goes low, but gets the knock. Goes around the edge, looks for the spray, but goes low. The weapon swap is good and is able to find the kills. It's Deadeye's guys going down.
As a reject, you're just trying to push everyone, and I'm too sure about this, but they're fine! From the sidelines alongside Sarrel, they're gonna find 1, 2, 3. Good night, Deadeye's guys.
Money for themselves in the long run. AJ and Renee, they're looking for that second place for sure, and then try to work with it from there. Lift takes massive amounts of damage, but it's Jumper with the double. Sends this into a 2v2 now. DRS immediately, they scatter, looking for better positions. They go wide.
Important that Jimmy is there.
I mean, they get a team wipe, so they don't know there's anyone else in this building. They think it's finished, they think it's done. And already Jimmy finds one. There's another up top side. Looks for the other, and he will clean it up. Jimmy!
Wants to seal the deal. The nade could be good here. Pop standing between him and the chicken dinner. Maybe look to reposition for the fight, but the nade dunks down, and it is Love to stand tall. The man, the myth, the legend.
Sneaking in from the side. He can hear him, he knows where he is, and Manhunt just seems to be tunnel vision on the fact that he's across this little mound, has no clue, he's to his left, and it is
Oh my God!
He's lying his way,
He's gonna line it up, but he gets spotted out, and it is gonna be the chicken dinner going the way of TJB somehow!
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here for the third match of the day. This day has completely flown by, and hopefully not too fast for some of the teams, considering there's quite a few still outside of that top 16. And, well, there's at least one of them with their final match coming up very, very shortly. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsor of OnePlus here, with its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers. OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro, your best shot to climb the leaderboards. And right now, TJB could desperately use that because they are sitting outside of top 16 with one match left to play. I don't know what to say, gentlemen. I mean, to see TJB to be like the invited team in from China to not qualify for the finals after such a strong first week in general, that would be a major hit, I think, to them as a team.
And it bears repeating as well, right? Currently, I think you said they were on 163 points in the overall Super Weekend standings. So if they do not qualify for this one, there is a very real chance that they don't get into that final towards the very end, and that would be a bit of a catastrophe for them, considering how decent a start that they had here to this tournament. They were able to control decent sizes of space and stuff like that, but it does feel like things have slipped off. The rest of the lobby has sort of kind of adapted around one another a little bit, whereas TJB has been lacking here a little.
Yeah, I mean, we're here, guys. We talk about the pressure and the sounds of heartbreak that we will hear today, and TJB is the first team that will feel it to that extent. The mark is there, right? We need 20+ points on this one game, right? So that is going to be, the name of the game, the storyline that will follow towards this one. But you know what? I'm actually want to put some focus onto teams that need bounce back, or even continue with the bounce back, right? So Starwood had a good one, but we also need to see teams like Team Secret to have that as well.
Yeah. I mean, Team Secret sitting sub 10 points. BC Swell, just over that. Rico Infinity team, another team that we haven't really talked about too much, not looking safe at all. And I can't imagine the pressure that's all on, considering, again, you don't really win any money in your placings. You don't really win anything from that. You need to get into the finals, and that's where the money really starts to come through here. So all these teams have to dig deep. This is their entire year building up to this moment. If you can't make it through, then well, you have to watch the rest from the sidelines, unfortunately. But again, every time we seem to talk about any of the maps when it comes to like looking at team stats, Stalwart always seems to be there. They have the most average Olymp points, at least according to what I'm seeing here, and also rank points when it comes to Miramar, gentlemen.
That's because they're the complete package, Jason. Look at them. I think it's nice that they actually got the victory under their belt, considering it was a rough game in the previous one. But for me, those kinds of things, once Stalwart has got, once they've shifted into gear, they are in, you know, the right presence of mind here to be able to push them into the next one, and which is why my prediction is going to be down the line. We'll see.
Really, we'll see. It sounds like it's pretty decided, Colors, of who your prediction is going to be. But you know what? You have to wait to tell us. You can't tell us just yet. But Tarzan, you could tell us your prediction.
Yeah, I want to see Team Secret shift into the right gear, because we've seen them do that on week 1, I think, when they had a pretty terrible day 1, and they came in with the very important, huge game on Miramar. So this is about time for them to do that again. And once again, like, just rooting for teams who really need these huge breaks.
Claris, you can tell this man drives. He knows how to shift into gear. What about you? Who's your choice?
Right. Well, I'll be putting the metal to the pedal here as we go for Stalwart once again, because I think that, you know, they've overcome the hump of those bad results before. And now we're into the good results.
Nice indeed. My choice, you'll never expect it, DRS Gaming.
Ooh.
Don't ask me why. I don't have a reason. I'm just going to pick them. I decided to actually just go towards, I probably have more of a chance of just randomly selecting a team than actually they are playing. I think. Let's head over to commentators. Correct me on that. Bled Imperium. Go ahead.
I think you got it right. For a moment, Jason, I was thinking you're going to pick the Infinity, and I was just going to rib on you the entire game, saying they're not playing this particular map. But he nailed it, Imperium. Jason seems to be more on point than sometimes some of our analysts.
Woo! Let's go, Jason. Well done. Proud of you, buddy. Proud of you, buddy. But we're getting into this game number 3 of the day, and the final game specifically for Tong Jiao Bao. And as John and Blank alluded to throughout the previous game, they absolutely, categorically, factually speaking, need a chicken dinner and a hell of a lot of kill points to boot with that.
So a 35-point game is probably what Tang Jiao looking for, is what you're implying here.
Minimum 22 points, because right now they're on a total of 22 points and they have 1 game left. If they get a chicken dinner with 7 kills, that's a total of 22 points. That will put them on 44. When we look back at the previous league plays, 41 was a cutoff on week 1, 36 was a cutoff for week 2. I think 44 would just about get them into the 3rd Super Weekend.
Well, this is a good opportunity for Tang Jiao here to start to rack up a few points. The circle, it's such a tease. I thought it would probably be heading towards the Eastern Islands, but unfortunately for us it won't. But, you know, I think most teams are going to be very comfortable with the way the zone has played out. Tang Jiao potentially about to go up against BC Swell. We saw that just south towards Los Leones. In the meantime, Team Secret, who have also had kind of a quiet league stage here, might have to take a few fights. But you can see already a few of these teams looking to kind of group up together. You can see Team Secret, they're spread quite thin. But fortunately for them, so are Rejects. So don't see any early fights breaking out here.
Yeah, that very southern playing path, of course, has put the spanner in the works for a few of these teams as they push them forward. The 2 Nepal sides having a little bit of a as Nima picks up a gun, is going to drive one of the Dead Eyes Guys players away and possibly pick up a kill on top. Indeed, he does.
They were trying to hunt him down in that van, and he picks up the VSS. And it's like, well, you know, now it's time for you guys to fear me. He gets a knock. I'm not too sure if he'll get a confirmation. In the meantime, we did see BC Swell get a knock and a finish on one of the members of two members of Tang Jiao. Oh my, that is not the start the Chinese side was looking for in their final game here in the league stage of week 3. At least they're able to get their vengeance by getting a couple of knocks and also a couple of finishes, in fact. So BC Swell down to just 1 man. It is CR Tomato.
As far as I know, And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in chat, anybody watching, etc. That's a targeted drop by Tong Bao into BC Swell. And if there's one team to target drop on when you're Tong Bao, it is BC Swell, with all due respect to them, 100%. But they haven't showed up. That's very simple but clever play from Tong Bao. Of course, how they play into this circle is important. Maxman has said no, because they take free spots when other teams aren't in the lobby, and MS Chambori aren't here. According to Max, I have to give him credit for that. He's going to say no. For the drama of it, I'm going to say it is a targeted drop.
I respect that. Maxman's being logical, and you're being basically the if you were a director, you'd be someone like who's the guy who does Transformers? Michael Bay. You are the Michael Bay.
Oh my God,
Maxman. I mean, I don't know if you like him, but no, not a fan. Because Maxman's clearly, some French indie director.
No, if Michael Bay directed some anime stuff, then he probably would be a fan of Michael Bay. But as he doesn't, he probably doesn't have a clue who he is. But as we move on, we did see in that replay, they might have been put down to 1, but they did pick up 2 of the Tong Bao players along the way. So as much as I appreciate, in my eyes, it was a targeted drop from Tong Bao, it makes their ability now to grab a chicken dinner in Miramar so much harder because they're down to 2 players.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's the Automator, last man alive. He will find a bit of cover here in the meantime. I do believe, I just wanted to touch upon the final thing you mentioned. If Michael Bay directs an anime, it should be real. I feel like there are a lot of anime which are more realistic and have more character development than some of the Michael Bay movies. So that's that.
That's because all Michael Bay does is go explosion here, explosion there, explosion everywhere. That's pretty much all he does.
Yeah, which is fun, which is what we want to see, and that is exactly what we want to see here in this lobby, in this server as well, in this particular game of Miramar. Miramar, of course, today being the second day, we're going to be having 3 Miramars, the second one here. And I am kind of happy that Stalwart Esports, they woke up in the previous game. They've woken up here today, considering how uncharacteristically quiet they were on day 1. And we kind of tend to, forget, like we talk about a super weekend, and we're like, that's where all the points matter and everything. I personally feel, especially in week 1s, especially when you're not in a very comfortable spot, the league stage is so much more stressful. Like if I was one of the players on the team, like think about it, right? You have only 8 opportunities, and sometimes like we talk about it, sometimes it becomes a cliche where we're like, they don't have the momentum, they maybe are having a bit of a cold start. But if you're not able to turn things around like on the fly immediately and just like wake up raring to go on day 2, suddenly you're potentially sitting out a super weekend, right? So I'm gonna go on a limb and say the league stage might actually be a little bit more stressful, again, for the teams who are struggling a bit.
I have a bit of a counterpoint for that, because I think it's a really valid argument you bring on board between the differences of league play and super weekend. The counterpoint to that is it's a little bit easier to use league play as an excuse for performing badly because of the variabilities of all 20 teams playing. You have some games where it's different groups of teams and some games others, whereas super weekend, there's so many less excuses for performing badly. You're against the same 15 teams. You're going through the same kind of set of maps every single day. You got to know your stuff, and you got to be able to build upon it, right? Even if you have a bad start to super weekend. So overall, as much as I get your point, that's my counter, that there's less excuses in the super weekend.
For sure. I think you have a more valid argument, but yeah, good discussion. You just saw Enigma Galaxy there. I'm gonna just say this, right? Like, I remember watching DRS like 3 seasons back.
Yeah.
In the Pro League South Asia, and obviously they have evolved, they have grown. Enigma Galaxy kind of remind me of that DRS, right? Where they're just reluctant to necessarily go for fights, but they always try to find its consistent placements, right? I don't know if I'm reaching here, I'm overreaching here, but
no, I think you have a good baseline on that. I would say they're ahead of DRS 3 seasons DRS ago, overall, because I think they're naturally a little bit more aggressive, so to speak, in that regard. But I definitely agree with your general consensus on that. And once again, it just continues to show the growth and evolution of every single region throughout the whole of the 2021 season. If someone had said to you last year, 2 teams or 3 Chinese teams, doesn't matter how many, that one of them would be at a point of not qualifying for the PMGC finals, you probably would be laughed at. But people have got to understand that every single region has stepped up. South Asia, MENA, Southeast Asia, and then when you look on the western side, you have Americas, you have Europe as well, that standpoint. But specifically on the east, every single region, every single country has developed, has grown, has learned from past mistakes, has taken past successes, brought it forward back to their own country and built upon it. Japan, Korea, look at Down One Gaming. Look at the growth they've shown. Look at Reject, how much they've improved. It is massive. It is insane. And that's what continues to make PUBG Mobile Global Esports just so damn exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's also the different styles coming into play, right? We see the Chinese teams and how they mostly play the first-person mode and how they've adapted and how some of them haven't quite been able to adapt. We've seen the ups and downs of Nova. They were, I wouldn't lie, all eyes were on Nova yesterday, at the beginning of the day, but they have delivered. So there's been a lot of constant drama. And the fact that virtually every one of these teams can on a decent day go up against the best here, it definitely leads to some very cool storylines, right? I guess again, I don't want to sound too harsh, but it's kind of obvious at BC Swell maybe they aren't ready for this particular level of competition. It is looking likely they're going to be sitting out the final Super Weekend as well. And I'm not trying to be mean to them, but hey, as long as you look at it as a learning experience, you realize that this is where we stand, and maybe next time we see them, they're going to be a much more dangerous force.
I agree. I'll talk about BC as well later on, because I do want to get back to the Phase 2 circle that shifted on up. It did go down towards the southwest. It's still centralized across the general map area with a good chunk of Los Leones, Picado still in play. You have the Power Grid Hill. So there's a lot of good positions for teams to take. BTR a little bit more central inside this Phase 2. And I think it's one thing that they've learned quite heavily from is they've learned to rotate a little bit quicker, a little bit deeper into these circles. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I think compared to their previous playstyle, 9 times out of 10, it's working out more effectively for them as a team as they move in. Nigma and Rico Infinity, the 2 MENA sides, are a little bit closer to each other on the western hemisphere of this Phase 2, and DRS continue to play on the outskirts of this Phase 2 circle.
Yeah, and apart from the initial battle between Tangjiba and BC Swell, right, we've seen a couple of exchanges of bullets. We saw DRS lose a member early there, just the 1 member isolated outside. Apart from that, everyone's pretty healthy, intact. They've found their respective compound, or in the case of Team Secret, multiple compounds to work with. And right now, the only team who's still out in the blue, taking a sweet time coming on in. Again, it's Miramar. It's a massive map. They can easily tank the damage, at least for the first couple of phases. It's going to be Damn One Gaming who are making their way in maybe towards Power Grid, because they're coming in from the crater fields, right? So they have a lot of options available to them. They can, in fact, if they do choose to do so, make their way from the southwestern side from Chumacera. Now, I'm assuming they're just going to be waiting out the next zone, because it's going to be taking place in the next few seconds.
Yeah, definitely better off just waiting out to see where this Phase 3 pops up. Down One Gaming is a 4-man team rotating through the blue. They're going in a little bit blind to this edge of circle position, so they have to thread a bit carefully. BTR, a couple of shots by FaZe. Beer 11 pops off, gets that knock onto you, high boy. I gotta give credit to FaZe Clan for once again using the situation to have Bullshark play, right? To give him practice. It's the first time we're seeing him in this PMGC, and it's important for the morale, for the experience, for the overall what makes a team a good team, to have that, to have every single player experiencing it. Sometimes, of course, teams maybe swap out too much, but I think the way FaZe have done it throughout this PMGC has been extremely healthy to their overall result and performance.
For sure. I just saw the circle shift. I'm sure you did as well. And I just realized that inside, like, BC Swell, the final member, he's smack in the center. And he's just going to be lying very, very quiet inside that little crater there. Nova and Genesis Dogma
It's
nearby.
a good spot to be, though. It's a good spot to be. Like, nobody's really going to be... Nobody's going to venture really into those buildings. They'll hover onto the edge of crater, but they won't go inside the buildings.
Diamond Gaming, just somehow the timing has been incredible for them, right? They came on in from the western side, and there were quite a number of teams, but looking at the zonal shift, we've seen quite a few teams. The majority teams who were near Picado, they haven't made a straight beeline towards the next zone. In fact, we see DRS and Nigma Galaxy peeling away from the northern side, and then we have the other couple of teams like Rico Infinity and BTR heading from the southern side. So that basically leaves Diamond Gaming a free entry in towards the, through Picado.
I guess like big props to Enigma on that big wide rotation from the direct west over to the northwest, across the north through San Martin and coming into the north edge of the circle. They need to be aware though that Stalwart, they drop in San Martin, therefore there's a much higher chance that they're going to be hovering around the northern edge of the circle, so they have to tread lightly as they move their way in. Rico Infinity towards Deadeye's guys are going to take a couple of pot shots at each other but avoid it. Move on forward, focus on the edge of the circle, and look at that top. Get this sweet kill onto Lord.
You were just saying about the Nigma Galaxy rotation, and all I saw were 4 gray spots in the map signifying Stalwart Esports are there, and yeah, Nigma Galaxy. I respect the attempt, but just unfortunate that Stalwart Esports are not even inside a compound, they're out in the open, so they're gonna wrap the bullets. Action! Taking bullets from the distance, but he continues. His bloodlust will not be sated until he gets the kill, and that's Nigma Galaxy just getting absolutely ruined by Stalwart Esports, and it's not looking good for them.
Oh no, Divine, you're taking a 1v3. That isn't gonna go too well for you. No. Duello now left on his own as the last player up, I believe, for reject. Cryptix has been a lot more aggressive in these games, but Duello gets a 2-piece. Marshall cooks up a nade around the corner of the building. This is fantastic solo play from Duello.
Reggie's nearby as well. Duello trying to confirm the kill real quickly. Both the members of Cryptix pushing on in. Lazy Boy should be bleeding out here unless they go for the res. No time. And now Duello having to go up in a 1 versus 2, but he gets pincered. Great movement there from Cryptix and Reggie coming in, but El Chapo will send him straight underground, 6 feet under. And that is going to be it from the Japanese side. Cryptix, fantastic hold. Sure, they do suffer a few casualties, but they're able to take down the Japanese side pretty convincingly. I love the final fight there. Both of them just pincering Duello.
Yeah, it was really good overall in terms of recovery from Cryptix. Duello did such a good solo job, and I don't know exactly where Rejoso was at that point when he was taking on the massive brunt of Cryptix, but I can't help but feel that Rejoso maybe could have joined up a little bit quicker to make it a bit of a cleaner 2v2, and it could have been a big turnaround either way. Opportunity missed, and they go down. DRS pushing in towards FaZe's position. Well, Beer 11 specifically, the rest of his team are going to be rotating around him to provide some level of support as Beer 11 tries to dance away from the bullets, but it's not going to work out.
Yeah, quickly put down by Gyaldin as well. Not taking any chances here. And FaZe, maybe a little angry now. Venturez raffling up a few bullets, but those few shacks going to provide a semblance of cover. You can see Mafia Ninja peeling away the vehicle, leaving Gyaldin and AJ. He's going to be the bait. He's going to try and force, or rather make FaZe assume that they have evacuated that particular compound. As we can see, everyone's kind of playing at the edge of this particular crater.
Yeah.
And that's risky, if you ask me.
No, I think the edge of crater is much better because it allows you to move around it a little bit more easily, cover behind you. Yes, it's not quite in this circle, but when you look at Cryptix, they can move around towards the northeast and edge in. Of course, when you have 3 or 4 teams looking to play the edge of crater, yes, it becomes more dangerous, but for the late game, it's a much better position to be in as AJ gets knocked. TJB update, by the way, they're on 3 kills. Their 2 players are still up and they are in the circle. They've opted to go for a little bit of a BC swell position of in the center of Crater Fields, hoping they don't get spot out, playing for that very late game. Even though they're down to 2 players, I kind of get what they're doing. I really do, and I think it's the best course of action for them to hopefully survive until the bitter end.
And considering how open the terrain is, I'm sure you have all these ridges and rocks and a couple of plants as well, cacti, I guess. But considering it's very open ground, you can easily see squads getting wiped out as the zone further shrinks in. I'm looking to see where the next zone shift is going to be. If it's going to be towards the crater, then both BC Swell and Tang Xiaobao are going to be so very happy. But if it is going to be western shift, I won't lie, it's not going to be easy for those 2 teams, as BTR unleashing onto Rico Infinity and DRS down to just Mafia Ninja and Galden, taking a long-range duel with Enigma Galaxy. Very optimistic with that nade was Mafia Ninja as Hamodi. Oh,
lovely
action shot, but that's a laser beam with the M4, and he knocks on Mafia Ninja, spots the second player as well, and DRS's days, it's looking numbered.
They're looking pretty heavily numbered. The circle has shifted up, by the way, shifting down southwest, away from the massive Crater Fields. Team Secret, Genesis Dogma are going to be fighting for the southwestern edge of this phase number 4. BTR holding on to the south. DRS finally do go down. The compound that was very much open, unknown to a couple of teams, has now been taken by Cryptics. For Nova, all 4 players are up and they're on that eastern edge of the circle.
Phase. Oh, wait. Ventores? Bro? Are you sure about this? I mean,
is it imposter syndrome?
I don't know what's going on there, but you know what? When Pika has an M24 or any bolt action gun in his hands, I would love to keep the observers on him. And Ventura as well. It looks like they found each other, and Rico Infinity just run away. They're like, yeah, we don't want to take this particular fight because, never mind, BTR helping them out by finding a couple of knocks and a couple of finishes as well onto Rico Infinity, down to just a 2-man squad. Although one of them has just been knocked, hasn't been fully put into the ground. Meanwhile, Genesis Dogma in a rough spot as well, as BTR continue to harass Rico Infinity, and this time they're going to be going in for the finish, not wasting any bullets. Hi, boy. Well, it just makes quick work of them.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone on Instagram yesterday, and they were kind of a little bit concerned about how BTR are playing. I said, look, don't worry, they've got this. It's BTR. They know how to pull it out of the bag, and indeed they have shown up today in a big way. Team Secret, iShot's the last player alive. He's normally a man that can pull something big off as he chucks a nade, connects on the order, and he's going to run away. Or is he? Power Boy in the distance and towards the safety of these buildings. They have to cover in, have on towards the high ground. iShot's very aware of what's going on around them.
This is not going to be easy. A follow-up nade. He waited for them to go in for the raise, for the res. This could be perfect.
Power Boy spot him.
Oh, never mind. Power Boy gonna keep him pinned down. In the meantime, Enigma Galaxy, they are dropping to the zone. Tang Xiaobao as well, having to rotate in down to just a 1-man. And BC Swell have also been taken down by the zone, unfortunately. And 6 points to Tang Xiaobao. Unfortunately, I don't think we even need to go to analyst test. Yeah, this is not going to be enough. As Shot is still holding his ground here. He's going to get yet another knock, and he is basically trying to be the 1-man army against the Chinese side. And Incendiary going to be lobbed in as well. He's so very low. He needs to patch himself up, and that bush is going to provide him some semblance of cover for the time being. And I don't know if it's going to be enough. Jimmy's going to burn alive in the meantime, looking to kill feed. And Nova, they're just not able to get this 1-man staying alive for Secret.
iShot is a big thorn in the side when he's on his own in these games. He's a little bit of a master for Team Secret in that regard, but a bit of a third party. Liquid doesn't connect those shots to Xavier under a little bit of pressure. They try and find a spot inside this circle. They send 2 players swinging in, which I definitely appreciate on that 2-2 split, to hold 2 players on that northern edge, even if it is in the blue, to try and provide that cover. Support his phase! Oh my lord, you high boy couldn't have picked up 2 easier kills.
Listen, man, Shot's still alive. I can't believe that he's
He's
still
a
looking
legend.
for the fight. Yeah, he's an absolute legend at this point. He spots Order out. Order needs to be careful. It's going to get knocked down. The Xavier, though, how brave are you? Very brave. But you know what? Sometimes bravery doesn't quite pan out. And that's going to be 2 quick knocks from coming in, as BTR, meanwhile, getting completely swarmed and taken down, at least one of their members. And I do believe for the Xavier, down to just a 2-man squad. In the meantime, the Legend has been lost. Team Secret have also been eliminated. Ventores inside that little shack, and he is completely, absolutely pinned down.
He's pinned down, but also BTR, Cryptics, they're focusing on each other. BTR cannot push onto Ventures because Cryptics are looking at them. And then you have the side angle for Nova. If anything, outside of a nade and a possible shot from Powerboy and anybody on the side, this could kind of be a bit of a cheeky win from Ventures. He just needs to lay low, stop standing up, stay prone down, dude. Come on.
This is it's squeaky bum time for FaZe, who have looked incredible here in week 3. And yeah, listen, if he's able to pull this one off, I'm gonna be just a bit flabbergasted. Considering everyone knows where he is, everyone has got no escape route, and just gonna try and bide his time and wait for everyone to eliminate each other. But as you pointed out, looking at the next zonal shift, that could be a reality. Ventura, oh! Thankfully, the nade's gonna bounce outside. That got a little scary. Ventura's still trying to step out. I'm not very comfortable with this, Imperium.
Oh my lord, well that nade connects in the UI, boy. I may not like what Ventures is doing, but I sure as hell have got to respect
He's in his zone.
it.
He's in the circle, mind you. If he can somehow take down BTR or enable Nova and Cryptics to take down BTR, he could just lie in wait here while Nova and Cryptics battle it out. There we go.
Now, the good thing is that Cryptics do have to push in quite heavily, so they're probably going to be focused on Nova, as you alluded to. It's going to be tough to see how they deal with it. FaZe, Ventures, another Molly confirms the kill onto UI, boy. What is this man built of? He's a machine.
He is the opposite of the wolf and the 3 piggies. Here it's 4 wolves trying to take him down, and he's the 1 piggy inside, taking everyone down from inside a little hut of his, and he's still keeping them at bay. Only 1 member remains now for the side of BTR. And Zoxy probably at this point is like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to take this fight. It's not worth it. Cryptic stepping out, having to take the fight though, but they're getting mowed down. Powerboy from the distance. Laser beam with an M4. They're going to find 2. And Zoxy finally finishes off Ventures as a little piggy will drop. And that means we're down to the final 2 teams. The final member of BTR, Zoxy, going up against the entirety, or at least 75% of Nova.
Oh, okay. Take care then, bye-bye now. That's a Nova chicken dinner, baby.
I liked how they approached that. Sure, okay, there were a couple of moments where it got a little uncomfortable for me when they're facing off against shots from Team Secret. But they were able to, get the reses. They were able to keep him pinned down. And sure, a little bit third party taking place as well. But for me, even the Nova, well-deserved chicken dinner coming in. But that hold from Ventures from FaZe, just incredible stuff.
Of course, outside of the win by Nova and a good performance solo by the likes of Ventures and Shots, the biggest story is that Tong Jiao Bao, they only got 6 points. That is not enough to bring them into the 3rd Super Weekend, and that puts their position in the finals of the PMGC East under massive threat. As of currently, they're lying 12th in the Super Weekend points, but the 17th below them, are already in this Super Weekend number 3 qualified. That, outside of the 7 below them tripping themselves up massively, I don't know. I just can't see Tong Jiao Bao surviving, because 163 points is also below the average when I looked at the points required with only 2 Super Weekends played. It was around 180, give or take. So, my lord, the destiny is definitely outside of Tong Jiao Bao's control.
And it's just so unfortunate, because just go back a few weeks, go back to the beginning of this entire event, go back to day 1, go back to game 1. who got a chicken dinner. It was Tang
Yes.
Jiabao. And all of us were like, holy hell, the Chinese teams are here to play. And sure, Nova had a very quiet start. We had 628 also having a bit of a quietish start. We're like, Tang Jiabao, this is a team to keep an eye out for. And the fact that they might not even make it to the finals, it's heartbreaking.
It's not about how you start, though, Blah. It's about how you finish.
Well, we started well, and we're finishing on a high note as well. Jason, take it away.
Yeah, wow. Nova. I mean, a team that didn't really need the points, able to close things out. Bigatron putting up some big points as well for themselves. But what I kind of want to focus in on is, well, TJB. I don't think they got what they needed. And I can confirm that, as we see they only got 7 points. So it looks like TJB will now be out of contention for the Super Weekend, where they could still potentially hold on to make it into the finals, but it's going to be very difficult, and the fate's going to be completely out of their hands.
Yeah, rough, isn't it? You never want the opportunity to strike not there for you here, TJB. They did try something, and I like it. They actually did go over to Los Leones, again, capitalizing on the fact that MS Chombury was not there, and the fact that there is that knock-on opportunity, the fact that BC Swell, who is traditionally in this tournament so far, proved not to be the most difficult of opponent, so they tried for that hunt down, but they lost people in the process. That M249 in those close combat fights here, Tarzan, is lethal, and BC Swell were able to take some damage with them.
But you got to think, right? They still got 7 points off that. So if that was the plan maybe from yesterday or halfway through yesterday, it might have worked. But that's the thing. Like, when do you actually switch on a particular mode? Right? So, I mean, A for effort, I guess. But I guess we are not going to see them in Super Weekend. And they will need to pray extremely hard.
Well, I can't remember the last time I've been able to buy food with effort, so unfortunately you can't really bring that to the bank and cash it. You see Reject on 1 point, Deadeye's Guys on 1 point, DRS on 1 point, BC Swell as well, only on 2. I'm starting to like almost be confident in saying that we're not going to see, like, to start calling out teams that we're not going to see this first Super Weekend. It seems to be coming to fruition at this point. But you, High Boy, 6 eliminations, 775 damage. Not bad to see him step up, not to mention 55% of his team's contribution.
Once again, another kind of decent split that they had across a ridgeline here going into those final moments. We're looking, you know, those circles 4, 5, etc., and a little bit further down. We're looking at BTR's position as well as Nova's position as the 2 prime cuts to the beef to have here, and BTR convert with it. Not enough to be able to deal with Nova's spot, though, of course. But yeah, BTR looking really good on Miramar here throughout the day.
Yeah. I like how they played as well. They start off with an adjustment, right? They went to Chimicera because Infinity is not in the lobby. And when you have made a change and it worked out through to the mid game, you actually feel quite good about that, right? You feel like you're big brain because you've made some change. It worked. And that actually has a very good snowballing effect, also almost like a positive feedback. Then they can actually carry on to the later games. And this BTR that we're seeing today is actually quite a pleasant one to watch.
Oh, man. Yeah, TJB, there you go. 17th place, no chance making the Super Weekend. DRS, 2 matches left to go. I mean, the bottom 3 teams have 2 matches left to go, and they have a lot of points to catch up on and also surpass against the likes of MS Chombury, Reject, 628. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think there's a legitimate chance here that like these bottom 3 teams won't qualify as well unless they get themselves like a fat chicken dinner.
Yeah, they need a little bit more of a step up for sure. I mean, how many points did Team Secret have in this one? I can't exactly remember, but I feel like they're still one of the teams that has the chops to be able to move up out of those spots. For the other ones,
5 points.
Yeah. 5 points? Okay.
5 points.
They still need a little bit more here. When I looked at Team Secret, I do feel like that they can actually have a little bit more productive a game on Erangel. So maybe when we switch over, maybe we can see it now.
Yeah. I mean, we still have 2 matches left to go and still more points for teams to get. Also, more points for you guys at home to get to unlock the treasure box. You can get a permanent item for yourself as long as you're watching in the Esports Center over on YouTube. You're collecting points that you can use to do just that. Also, if you click the rewards down below, come on, guys, get the fingers in. Everyone's got a point. Everyone's got a point. Where are you pointing, Tarzan? Your hand's behind a microphone. We can't see your hands.
Sorry, like right here. You just follow through. Is about
again, your hand is behind your microphone. Just put your head up in your face and do this. Oh my god, it's gone. It's too late.
It's gone. It's gone.
All right, things Tarzan can't do. Point down on camera. Got that one. Write that one down. Save it for later. Erangel coming up next with Miramar. Groups B, C, D, and E. This is their final matches of this final week, league play week. If I can get my words out correctly. And it's going to be tough, but what's also tough is the question we're going to be asking you guys to hear your thoughts on. What's your favorite map? Are you Team Sandhawk or are you Team Erangel? And if you're Team Sandhawk, then get out of here. We don't want you here. We want,
Absolutely.
we want
Exactly.
only
Get out.
Erangel.
Goodbye.
Maybe we could change it up to have like McKendy in there, maybe Livik, something. Throw in a little bit of spice in there. Hashtag, Team Mirror World. Who knows? But ladies and gentlemen, make sure, get in the conversation over on YouTube. Make sure to let your thoughts be known, communicate, discuss with other people as well. And we'll be keeping an eye on that, on top of it. And speaking about being on top of it, we're on top of what's coming up next. It's Erangel. We're going to head to a break. When we come back, we'll be diving straight into that map. All right, well, welcome back. Hopefully my microphone is on. Hopefully we're good to go. Hopefully you guys have unmuted yourself as well, because we're going to be talking about what's coming up next, which will be Erangel for our last time here of the day and last time in league play before we move into the Super Weekend. And we can see here the teams that will be participating in this fourth match. We have to get our predictions in, so make sure you guys are thinking about it hard here. Just going to close my eyes and okay. I feel bad, Tarzan, because that's the exact team I put into as well. But anyways, we'll see how that's going to go. Maybe I just cursed your prediction.
You guys would know.
But we need to focus on, I guess we need to be a little bit serious here, right? Secret, DRS, BC Swell, Rico Infinity team potentially. Like, we need to keep our eyes on some of these teams because they might not make it. They need to pick up some massive points here.
Yeah, I think, of course, for Team Secret and DRS, these are the two that I'm looking to for the big bounce up. All things considered, I mean, what we've seen from them in the Super Weekends is kind of enough anyway, right? They've got themselves over 200 points each, so they should be moving through into that final at the very end of things. But it still detracts from the idea that, like, these are two teams that probably have a lot of pride as well, considering where they're representing, etc., and things like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Sometimes you just need to focus on the game in front of you, right? Like, after all, like, if you still can't find your momentum now, like, it actually feels pretty bad going into the Super Weekend, or like even when you reappear in the finals. Let's say they don't qualify. So I think it's important to see what card do they have to play? Like, what card do they have in the first place, and can they properly play it? Like, Team Secret, maybe with their wide rotations. BC as well, I'm not sure at all. But DRS, sometimes, knowing that it's time to fight instead of finding a way to edge in on a certain part of the circle, I think those are the things that we're looking out for, so that they can at least play their own game.
What about the other teams? Like, say you're Infinity or something like that, right? Say you're in the position where, I mean, you're qualified through, you're gonna make it to the finals no matter what. Is this a time you start to relax a little bit? I mean, we've seen, obviously, like for FaZe Clan in particular, they've put in quite a few different subs, not like their main lineup here, just get them experience. What would you do then if you're one of these teams who was for sure through to the finals?
Continue to test these things out. And I think the most important thing to test is to, once again, I've been talking about this for many times, but punishing a team maybe on their first rotation or second rotation, because those are the harder things to really get down if you do proper data collection. And then you just need to find a way to apply. You need to keep thinking about, for this playing path, for these circles, that team is where we can, hunt down. And that is probably the best thing to test right now to test their hypothesis.
Yeah, I mean, the parallel that you draw, actually, Jason, is an important one, right? Because as you said, Infinity, they've been sometimes bringing in Nier as a sub just to kind of have him flex around once they know that they've been comfortable. FaZe, likewise. They were up towards the top up until just when Nova has just taken them over now. They also brought in somebody instead of Tony K to kind of, you know, get more reps in for some of their subs if down the line they need it. It's the perfect opportunity to have these kinds of things when you know you are qualified for these super weekends.
Yeah, and I do wonder though, do they realistically look to field one of these subs that they're using in the finals? Do they look to do it in PMGC Grand Finals to potentially get there, or is this more of like just get them experience going into next year, so they have that like kind of super high level international experience under their belt?
I think it's a safety measure more than anything, right? It's
Yeah.
like if something random happens to their A-listers, that, you know, like somebody gets sick or something like that, at least they've got someone who's not just coming in straight away fresh into a super weekend and hasn't played any games against this lobby. I think that's really important. Even just to have 1, 2, 3 games under your belt against this lobby, so you're not just all of a sudden, oh, I'm surprised that somebody was shooting me from that angle, when maybe you've kind of figured that out in your previous games.
I think this is the thing as well. Like when you actually, in the ideal situation, you want to have everyone play well, and you have different cards to play, almost like expanding the repertoire. It's like those best sixth man, something like that in like basketball. You bring them in, you go for a huge change in your style, but that actually adds a lot of freshness as well. I'm not sure whether we're getting there yet, but I think the idea is starting to like flourish for teams like FaZe Clan.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, as we're talking about FaZe Clan, I kind of want to talk about the team at the bottom of the table of what's going on with them. Team Secret. I mean, we know they're an insanely strong team. They put on a hell of a strong performance. Their best result so far has been a 4th place with 0 eliminations. They've only gotten, well, that was 2 matches ago. But before the last match, they only had 2 elims out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, which is very unlike them, in my opinion. Maybe we can dive into a little bit, but first I guess we're gonna do our predictions really quickly. I'm going with 6-8. I closed my eyes, I randomly selected the team on my screen.
Nice.
And that's who I got. What about you, Kalaris?
I'm going MS Chumbury for this one, and instead of answering why, I'm going to answer your team secret question. Some of the circles have popped very far away from some of the drop spots, so that hasn't helped them, but they could still do more.
Okay.
6-8 for me. I mean, going with Jason for this one, and I mean, like if he's choosing Infinity, then I may not do the same. But 6-8, they've done me well. Actually, my first ever prediction that I got right was on 6-8 on a different map. So let's try that out again.
Okay. Well, I mean, you have some legitimate reasoning behind your prediction. I just closed my eyes and literally just did this, and then boop, and that's how I got mine.
Nice.
But that's kind of what it is. Like, how are you supposed to legitimately predict a team that's going to win when you don't know any of the zones, 100%. You don't know any of the shifts, you don't know like anything that's actually happening? You're basically just doing what I'm doing. You're just basically guessing. Just some of you two have been better at it than I have been, unfortunately. Did you have any thoughts on Secret before we do throw over to Caster Stars then?
They need to stop playing so safe. They thought that's the safe way to get points, but it's not. They have to really shift things up and know this is a time to take a fight and just ride off that momentum.
Yeah, we know they're a strong team. We know they can pick up a lot of eliminations and also a lot of chicken dinners if they can get it, but they need to find that way to do it here and to unlock that potential in the final 2 matches of the day. Let's throw it over to our commentators, though, of Blood Imperium to take us into the game.
I'm just looking at James's face, and I could see how confused he was that Tarzan and Jason were agreeing on something. And I was surprised as well. Both of them going with 6-8, an interesting pick from these two.
Well, if 6-8 win, then once again we'll see Professor Tarzan piggybacking off another kind of talent. So I joke. But yeah, it's definitely surprising to see. But piggybacking is maybe something that DRS and Team Seeker should be doing for themselves, because they have a massive uphill battle ahead of themselves. They both have 2 games left. Now, right now, DRS are 18 points behind MS Chonburi, and Team Secret are 13 points behind MS Chonburi. However, MS Chonburi and other teams above MS Chonburi are also playing in these games, so it's a rolling target. Right now, the only non-moving target for DRS and Team Secret is Deadeye's guys in 11th spot of 43 points. So therefore, in theory, DRS need a minimum of 31 points in the next 2 games, and Team Secret need a minimum of 26. It is possible, of course, but that also requires the teams above them, such as MS Chambori, Reject 628, to also perform badly for Team Secret and DRS to make it in to the 3rd Super Weekend.
I want to touch upon a point that Professor Townsend made as well when he said that Team Secret just need to stop, playing like pussies. I'm not sure if he said that exactly, but I think what he said was a little bit more politically correct. He said they should stop playing scared. But you know me, I'm less politically correct. But yeah. They're playing so scared. They are. But I mean, I get it. They like dropping towards Kameshki and whatnot. But if they do want to stand a chance of, like you said, getting those points, start taking a few fights. Erangel. I mean, it's a map where all these teams are going to be very comfortable with. You know what the majority of the teams are going to be doing. Sure, there will be the wild card, like a FaZe, like like a D Xavier, like a Genesis Dogma, who might try and throw a curveball just to make things a little bit more interesting. But I would love to see Team Secret just like kind of wake up and just, show what the cojones are made of and take these fights. But again, it's not happening, and you have only 2 games remaining, man.
And also, okay, there could be something used as a reason for Team Secret not performing well, is that Carleris brought up the circles. In my eyes, that's not an excuse, because 1, you can't control the circles, you got to be able to adapt. Secondly, when you look at Stalwart, in the game they won in Erangel, on the western side of the map, they drop a Novo. You could ask for a harder adaptability in terms of one direction to another for a team to win. So in my eyes, Team Secret, there's no excuses. They need to get it done. But this is beautiful from Stalwart. Look at the level of fun they're having. The dancing from on top of the car. Yeah, that's a bit spicy. I don't think that's even PG, to be honest, man.
There are a bunch of little dirty boys, aren't they? That's why I like them. They're fun. They have played incredibly thus far. Sure, we've had them have their ups and
struggles
downs
at times.
Struggles at times, but they show the grit and the tenacity necessary to, when it looks grim, when you're starting to worry a little bit, they wake up and they deliver.
Yes.
And in all honesty, I don't think there's ever been a moment, apart from maybe yesterday at the end of the day, where we were like, okay, Stalwart's being very quiet. Because even though they might have a quiet day, there will always be some glimpses of what we can expect from them rather. And they never ever seem out of it.
No, they never really seem out of it for sure. And even just, it seems like the attitude of kind of Stalwart as an org, at least in terms of with this team, also seems very healthy. They're constantly kind of posting memes. They'll poke fun at themselves as well as other teams, and just having that kind of good vibe, that kind of healthy level of competition where, hey, let's have a bit of fun and then keep the seriousness kind of in game when it's needed to be played out. Looking at this phase 1 though, it's a little bit easier to deal with for a lot of these teams. You have a big chunk of the central map in play. Yes, about 30% of it is between the water and the military island, but I can't see that being a big threat. Reject might stay towards the coastline, BTR might stay towards the coastline, but as of right now, there's a lot of space in around Potato Hill. Outside of Potato Hill, of course, Nigma Galaxy not playing in this game means that the Pachinki area is automatically kind of more open to play around, whether it's a church or it's a compound to the west, or like I said, outside of Potato Hill. So I'm curious to see how teams start to rotate as we get through this phase 1.
I would love to see, I know it's very unlikely, but just imagine everyone's just gathered up around Potato Hill, maybe towards school, Pachinki, and then the circle shifts towards the military. I mean, can you
evil, man.
Imagine the bloodbath we would witness? And you know what? I think we deserve that, and especially considering a lot of the teams right now in the lobby, apart from a couple, as we mentioned, the DRSs and the Team Secrets, most of them are pretty much qualified. So if that does happen, I promise you, there's going to be some wild chisel going on. Let's put it that way.
BTR, what are you doing? Please.
Exactly.
Please be careful. You should know this about both Reject and Genesis Dogma, that they do kind of hang around the coastal line in this kind of circle. Don't be so heavily split, please, and thank you. There you go. Luxie joined up with the rest of your teammates. Make it a 3-1 spread inside this phase number 1. Team Seeker, DRS report update for you guys. DRS are still in Yasnaya, hanging around MS Chonburi. Team Seeker still hanging on to Kameshki and Svalbard on their split. I could definitely see Team Seeker waiting until phase 2 to rotate into this circle because of the impending traffic in front of them around Yasnaya, but I'm very surprised to see DRS still looting up in Yasnaya. They have a really good opportunity to rotate kind of directly down the southwest, maybe hold on to the compound that's to the west of Yasnaya by the river. They can move a little bit forward towards Potato Hill. As it happens now that they haven't, the likes of Xavier, who go for a split drop in Prison Shelter, have gotten there first. In no uncertain terms should DRS have allowed that to happen. So right away, it feels like DRS have put themselves on the back foot.
Remains to be seen how whether it's gonna go downhill for them. But yeah, these two teams, Team Secret and DRS, both in a very close proximity of each other. You know, almost in a similar quadrant. In fact, on the northeastern side. But Team Secret coming down from Stalwart right now. We'll get back to that as Genesis Dogma unleashing a hail of bullets in the direction of BC Swell. BC Swell, a bit of a tight-packed unit, but the moment they hear the bullets, they immediately disperse and then they congregate together. So no immediate danger yet, but they will be, I guess, alighting towards the farm area. And if I'm Genesis Dogma, I'm going for it. I'm going in for the hunt.
Why not? Why not? But they might not know it's BC Swell.
BC
That's
Swell,
one thing
true.
we need to consider. They might not know it's BC Swell.
They might think it's Stalwart, right?
They might think it's Stalwart or even the Xavier, right? Because I think this rotation from BC Swell is a little bit weird for me, especially because they know where Genesis Dogma land. They should have a bit of an idea of how they naturally rotate. It's a little bit unusual for me from BC Swell coming in through this phase number 1. We're about to see phase 2 pop up, the 9-minute mark of the game. And boom, a lovely central shift. Pretty much all the teams that were inside the circle in phase 1 are inside the circle for phase 2. That makes it harder for Team Secret, it makes it harder for FaZe Clan, and it makes it harder for Stalwart.
Stalwart's a battering ram. They're just gonna ram their way through it.
Oh, lol.
Well, Infinity, though, you know, as usual, they don't necessarily... They always seem to have a very good read, except that one time, I think it was 628 who bridge camped them on the western bridge. Apart from that one time, I don't think they've ever been caught off guard while rotating in. Their timing has been impeccable. They rotate, depending on where the zone is, they know when to go for it, maybe sometimes very early, sometimes they wait even for the third or second or third shift. So... once again, they make their way in towards the mainland. Stalwart are taking a sweet, sweet time. Only now are they heading out of Novo. So they're going to be making their way in. And fortunately for them, no one towards the bridge. And the first team they might be coming into contact with is BC Swell. Unless Genesis Dogma make quick work of them. Great position.
What do you do,
BC Swell? Come on, BC Swell. At least go down with style. Where does he even drop in from? Was that Daybot from above? He just drops down like a demon. And BC Swell, I mean, it's almost like they're just, you know, free Amazon delivery for loot to all these teams right now. I don't want to be, but, you know.
It's not like they gave Genesis Dogma the element of surprise. BC Swell were swirling around that beach coastline for a good 15 to 20 seconds. They gave every opportunity for Genesis Dogma to set up a defense, to set up positions to counter any kind of push, and then they went and pushed as a 3-person team and got taken out. There's no real surprise as the Xavier on top of Potato Hill. They have MS Chonburi down to the south of them. It's very hard to control Potato Hill, but I gotta appreciate and respect how much of a good hold the Xavier have. They're focusing on one area of it, which is that kind of northwestern edge. Right now it is a little bit more approachable for MS Chonburi to crash up that side, so that's why the Xavier are looking to control it.
MS Chonburi would be definitely looking to rack up a few more kills and get a few more points as well.
Yes.
The Xavier that is sitting very comfortably in the top 3 position, at least for the time being. Starwood Esports coming in with that super late rotation, and I did say, you know, they might be going up against MS Chonburi, but instead...
BC
sorry,
Swell.
sorry, BC Swell, I beg your pardon. But yeah, instead they will be greeted by a couple of bullets from Genesis Dogma far away in the distance. And Starwood Esports have called farm their home for the time being. No one really having to move right now. FaZe on top of the church. And listen, I'm going to call it. It's going to be another final finish of Pachinki.
I appreciate that bold prediction as we're getting to the end of phase 3. There's a line of teams from the compound down to south of school all the way to Pachinki Rico, followed by Down One Gaming, followed by 4 Rivals, followed by FaZe Clan. So they could crash into each other depending on where this phase 3 shifts. Blah, are you the messiah of circles or are you the devil of circles?
Listen, man, I'm just saying, I'm just good at what I do, you know? Like, you saw me call that, like, with such conviction. And even when it was in a smaller zone, it was like the 3rd shift, right? And you could have gone anywhere, but I'm like, it's gotta be Pachinki, boys. I mean, I'm just saying.
But please,
you're welcome.
Please don't commit yourself to Pachinki, though. It is still only phase 3. I don't really like it from MS Chonburi. Now, it is on that kind of very eastern edge of the city, so it's a little bit more disengageable. It's a little bit more exitable, and they've gotten there first, so I can look here. Michael Bay, Junie just goes for that Michael Bay move indeed, and jumps his way out of it. Down One Gaming are safe for now, but 628 are on that South Pachinki hill, waiting, looking for the victims around them.
Yeah, I really don't think they're safe. TG13, amongst all the commotion, I think has been... Oh, no, not just TG13, but Jasper as well. That's not good. That's not good at all for MS Chonburi. I thought, like you said, that they found some semblance of safety. But now, the knocks haven't been converted into kills, so they're sitting pretty right now for the time being. BC Swell, in the meantime, will bid us goodbye. Again, a very, very disappointing outing for them, as D5MX is being knocked down, but fortunately he's got teammates around him, and the rest should be taking place. What's surprising for MS Chonburi is that those 2 players got knocked down. The reses haven't taken place yet. It looks like they might just bleed out in the open.
That could be the case. It's just a Dogma. Hold on to that eastern side of Potato Hill. Team Secret being put under a good bit of pressure by Rico Infinity. This is a scary game for Team Secret. Like you said, coming into this game, they're currently 18th on a total of 17 points. MS Chonburi were punished by 4 Rivals, but it's not enough to get confirmations, right? That is the good thing about kind of committing to a city, is that, especially in the early games such as phase 3, if you get knocked, unless it's a secondary team, you're not really going to get pushed or third-partied or essentially confirmed. So MS Chonburi back up as a full squad. I really appreciate this eastern Pachinki field position from BTR. You could see them get stuck on the next phase, but I think it's an absolutely bang-on position to be in.
Come on, Pika. 3rd time's a charm. No, one more. Come on. No, goes on a flick shot, doesn't quite land it. Pika usually doesn't miss those. He rarely misses those, but unfortunate. I'm more impressed with the fact that apart from BC Swell, I saw like, I think 5 knocks, but none of them were converted. Everyone getting rezzed, everyone healed up. So we have 60 players alive, 15 minutes into this game. And the circle shrinks it further. And unfortunately for my predictions, it's a little bit away from Pachinki. You know,
it's still technically in Pachinki for the time being, but that's why I said don't commit yourself to Pachinki on phase 3, right? That's why I really like 628. That's what position. That's why I really like BTR's position. But now FaZe and MS Chonburi, Jasper is knocked down, and this could be a very good fight for both BTR. Sorry, for both DRS and Team Secret if MS Chonburi go down.
As Chonburi, that they're getting harassed. I love the nades. We love the Beer 11. Needs to be careful. And the nade will find its mark. TG13 absolutely bloodied by the shrapnel. And Pop just runs on in through that little tunnel. But the nades, they're now getting harassed by 4 rivals as well. As Bullshock arrives to the party. And MS Chonburi get absolutely slaughtered on their knees. Executed. And 1 man remains.
And this could be very important if FaZe can get the revive onto all 4 players before rivals. Looking for a bit of a third party on that one as DRS and Rico Infinity gonna clash up on that northwestern edge outside the circle for the time being. Infinity being very quiet in this game so far, Blair. They hold on to the southwest side. They have a bit of a 2-1-1 split. BTR disengaged away from the Pachinki field and have gone massively down south on their rotation and hold onto the south edge. That's what I really like about BTR and how they are able to move, how they are able to rotate and adapt in these kind of situations.
What a shot by shots. Look at how far Satar is.
Shot by shots.
Yeah, I mean, completely unintentional, of course, and they're going in for the finish as well. They're wasting their time. They're like, we need kills, we need kills, we need points, and that's exactly what they're going to find as Satar will quickly be finished off there.
You know what I'd love Jumper to do leading into the finals, if he's allowed to? Rename his IGN to Christmas Jumper. That would be so cool.
All right, yeah, I don't want to put you in a timeout, but if I could, I would. Team Secret, though, they get the knock. They have a semblance of cover. But Genesis Dogma, we know how absolutely dangerous this particular unit can be. Now, fortunately for the side of Team Secret, the nades aren't really going to find their mark. And I say that. And the nades, they exchange nades. Daybot with a knock. But he, in turn, will fall. And look at Team Secret. Look at him charging it. Teammate down, Team Secret. What are you doing? That shouldn't be happening. And Booms, he's probably wondering, okay, fine, thank you. We'll take that.
Nade, though.
And Team Secret still charging it. Another nade sails. Incendiary is getting locked back in by Genesis Dogma. It's just a battle of attrition, a comedy of errors, but a very deadly one at that.
I think the only way Team Secret can really survive this is if Genesis Dogma disengage or 6-2-8 third party. It seems to be the case as Genesis Dogma are cutting their losses and moving away from this, and they are realizing that we're coming to the tail end of Phase 4, so maybe a bit of a focus on towards this Phase 5 is going to be more important. We switch on over to this fight between Xavier and Cryptics.
Oh, this is brutal. The nades, 3 knocks with the nades, 1 member standing for the side of the Xavier. The Incendiary is going to still somehow keep them at bay. I don't even know how the Xavier is still standing, but Cryptics, they come charging up. They should find a final knock here, but no. Fredo is doing his best to stay alive, and eventually he will fall. Frankie, beg your pardon, but what a messy end there. But Cryptics just making quick work of them, and we get back to the original fight. Team Secret, Genesis Dogma, this is but Team Secret come out on top, 4 kills. They do lose Fredo, but it is still a worthy, at least he died for the team,
I thought 6-8 would have looked to third-party that a little bit more heavily on the tail end. They would have heard a lot of noise down on the eastern side, but they didn't, and it might come to bite them in the butt because that will allow Team Secret to enter on that eastern edge of Potato Hill, and with Reject already down a little bit to the southwest of them, it could be a bit too much for 6-8 to deal with as the members of 4 rivals, FaZe Clan and MS Chonburi Ponzai goes down. That is 0 kills, 0 eliminations for MS Chonburi.
That's rough. That's a rough outing. 6-8 in the meantime having to go up against Reject, and they are taking a bit of damage. Team Secret having to make a run for it, and they might be just running into an ongoing skirmish. Now, if they time this right, unfortunately, it's kind of open terrain, but if they're able to time it right. Oh, FaZe? I thought we were going to try to run over Appy. It's a drive-by, but not quite able to find its mark. But Appy will fall to Lazy Boy as Cryptics have arrived at the party. Now, Team Secret, I do wonder if they're going to be able to somehow sneak their way in, but it's looking unlikely. 1 by 1, they start to fall, and it's kind of rough. 2 members stay alive for them now.
Cryptics have had a hell of an aggressive game so far. 5 eliminations. The squad wipe onto Xavier, they're in the circle, they're controlling that northwest hillside. It's been a good game indeed. Down one gaming, 33Z, turns around, claps Junie right in the back with that one.
Cryptics are literally just driving around like they're playing Carmageddon or something. Look at them. Marshall is driving around conveying information, and for some reason, no one's able to find him as Daoshi. He is low, needs to patch himself up. 33Z, he's been out low for a while, so I'm assuming he doesn't have any first aid kits with him, which is unfortunate. And Secret, two-member, sneaking in, and he's going to be Kid finding Sarah, pushing in deeper. 33Z's there as well around the corner, but he won't be able to find Kid, and he will finally be knocked down. But that was all a ruse, because amongst all the commotion, his teammate has managed to sneak his way into the zone. The Team Secret still in contention, as Cryptics are now coming under fire from Rico Infinity, but a trade is immediate, and Cryptics will eliminate the Mina team.
Always eye shots left alive, always alone on his own. He's the golden bullet of his side, but down he goes in the end. We also lose Rico. Infinity 33Z is not looking to get confirmed. How are FaZe Clan still alive in this one? How are they still up as a duo? This is crazy from the Thailand side.
And look at how far away they're from each other as well. And Divine is gonna unlock, but unfortunately that exposes him, and he will be taken down by Damn One. FaZe, you say Howard is still alive, man? They're taking kills, they're taking knocks. They're not just quietly gonna go into the night. They're looking for those frags. Down to the final 5 teams, 15 players still in contention. And of course, the one time Jason doesn't pick the Infinity, it's looking like they might potentially steal a chicken dinner away here.
BTR are still waiting in the wings down on the southwest side. Only as a duo though. Down one gaming still up as a full squad. They're gonna push in on towards FaZe's position, so I can't see FaZe surviving for too much longer. You talked about that split is gonna work in their favor for the time being, and Luxie down below at the bottom of the hill gets a couple of shots onto Near. Not quite a knock, but again, just opens the door as MR5 go down.
FaZe doing their best to hold the ground. And a couple of knocks. And a finish as well in the Damn One Gaming. So the 4-man squad you were talking about, they go up against one member of FaZe. And look at the amount of damage they deal here, Imperium.
Lovely shots by God Tunny. Gets a kill on the Luxie. Leaves with just Liquid left on his own. This is a kind of circle ending where nobody really wants to be in the center as well. Everybody's on edge. The team that's really closest to the center is Infinity, but they have the most amount of players. They have a full squad up, so it makes sense as the next phase is about to show.
They want to just take care of BTR here. They don't want them around. They want to just eliminate Liquid as quickly as possible so they can consolidate the surroundings, and then they can concentrate on the remaining teams. That is, of course, going to be Cryptics with their 3-man squad. And again, FaZe, Bullshock still alive. Fabian still alive, although now he's out in the blue, so he's going to try and patch himself up. He's way out of the blue. And FaZe gets spotted by Lazy Boy. Fabian, his days are numbered. They know exactly where he is. But considering the number of teams left alive here, Cryptics are aware they have to go up against the force that is Infinity.
Yeah, but I want to see Cryptics win this, being perfectly honest. I feel like they deserve this game a little bit more. 9 eliminations. They've had to do a bit more work to enter into these circles. But again, like you said, they're going up against the might of the Infinity. 7 eliminations themselves. The circle has favored them as Fabian goes down. That's the end of down 1. 2 teams remain.
It does favor them a little bit though, and that's they had a little rock to El Chapo, and I like what Senkai's doing. He's trying to come in all the way from the left-hand side. Oh, the nade! Almost finds Lazy Boy on a sliver of HP, hemorrhaging all over the grass. He will crawl to safety and he's gonna try and patch himself. Senkai's trying to find an angle, but Mela, he's even further out, and I don't think Senkai's gonna be aware of this. The moment he tries to strike onto Nuzi, Mela should rattle off a couple of bullets, but no, he's going to reposition himself, grouping up with the rest of his teammates. So yes, they do have the slight high ground advantage, but as you pointed out, the zone, it is firmly with the Infinity.
Look at the line Infinity have right in the center circle. And I love the fact that one is on the outside of it, on that western edge. I believe it is Mela. That covers Cryptics entering from the side of the hill. It's perfect from the Infinity.
Parade out. The nade from Newsy. Good to find Senkai, now a 4 versus 2. And you can see Mela starting to pincer them, coming in from the side, and they have no idea the angle is going to be coming in from on the extremity. He should find Lazy Boy here. Lazy Boy hears the commotion, can hear the footsteps. He needs to strike right now, and indeed he will strike, but Mela is so quick on a trigger. 1 remains, and that is going to be it. The Infinity. 10 kills and a chicken dinner. I guess, you know, that's what Infinity does, getting the chicken dinner when Jason doesn't kind of screw their day by taking them.
Such a good ending from the Infinity. The way they controlled it was perfect. They didn't take it for granted. Like I highlighted, that 4-man line across that circle right in the center was just so sweet to see. But Cryptics, man, a team that have had their fair share, and I mean like their fair share of ups and downs, blah. I really think it shines a big light on how much they've grown throughout this PMGC East. They've become a lot more aggressive. They've started playing, I feel, a little bit more fluidly as a team, taking more fights, you know, pushing their way into these circles, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. And I'm going to be very excited to see them coming into the 3rd Super Weekend, because to have 3 MENA teams in the finals, I think would be a big push and a big representation of how massively that region has grown.
Yeah, and even the very differing styles of these teams, right? Like you look at Enigma Galaxy, they play a very different brand of PUBG Mobile compared to Cryptics. And yeah, 100% Cryptics have very, very much impressed all of us. I gotta say, FaZe impressed me quite a bit as well. They were so resilient. Like, it just didn't make any sense for how long they're able to stay alive. Team Secret, I think they did better than usual. Again, you know, faltering at the end.
Is it good enough,
there.
though?
I don't know. Even DRS as well. Those are the 2 teams we're keeping an eye out on. And I don't know about you, Perry, but heading to the final game, I mean, they need to really step it up. But I haven't seen anything yet thus far from these 2 teams today where I can be like, oh, they tried, but they faltered. No, it's kind of been middle of the pack.
And I'm also getting that kind of like little bit of kind of PTSD of DRS and how in the past they look so volatile on their performance, and it looked good, consistent at the start of PMGC, but in this league week 3 and Super Weekend 2, it's been very, very hit and miss.
It has indeed. But you know what? That's enough from us. We have one more game remaining for the day for the league stage of week number 3. But before that, of course, we have the wonderful panel and Jason.
Speaking of hit or miss, it's more about miss for me with my predictions. I don't know what you're doing, Tarzan, but you should have stuck with me. You should have changed the second you saw me do 628. And of course, the one time I don't predict Infinity, they get themselves a chicken dinner. But either way, they did it in a very good fashion. But also Cryptics, got to give them credit to be able to survive that long and to be able to put up that amount of points. A team that we don't really see that often, sadly enough, or we haven't really seen or talked about too much when it comes to Super Weekends. At least here in the last week of league play, they're starting to put on a good performance.
Yeah, very safe as well with the points that they've accrued here. Now, I talk many times about not committing to cities early in these kinds of circles, and a few teams did. One of the locations which I think is good to take here in these kind of circles is where Cryptics took, which was the warehouses west of Pochinki, which kind of gives you that pseudo kind of maybe like little linchpin into Pochinki if it goes that way, but it also gives you that anchor point maybe going into those fields down towards the hill when you need it. So Cryptics, I like the spot that they picked, and I like the transitions that they picked here.
You'd like the way that they played as well. To be fair, we talked about how they played before this week, and there's no flashiness to it. But I've been casting them through PMPL Arabia. I know they can use momentum well, and to be fair, they were the team that got the first chicken dinner of this week's league play, and I can believe that is what they're riding off, but they will need to bring that over to Super Weekend as well.
Yeah, well, speaking of bringing over to Super Weekend, we have Secret getting 7 points. Not going to be enough to get them into top 16 just yet. DRS only getting 1 point. Again, not going to be enough points to get them into top 16. I'm really worried, actually, for those 2, or I guess 3 teams, if you want to put in BC Swell in there as well, to be able to make it into the Super Weekend, let alone be able to maintain their position in top 16 if they don't.
Yeah, unless DRS has like a massive game coming into the next one, or BC Swell as well. Like, I think they might be just done here for this going into the next Super Weekend. DRS, I kind of expected more than just the 1 point, but time is ticking on them, and there's only 1 game left.
Well, we can see Lazy Boy, someone we haven't really mentioned when it comes to MVP. I don't think we've seen really him ever actually in the MVP, so a big standout performance out of him with the 6 eliminations and 747 damage, doing 50% was team's contribution here in this one. And I mean, Cryptics, yeah, we haven't really had those stand-up players really come into the limelight with them, unfortunately. I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, I don't know if that's just because they haven't been able to just do really well in general to have those big matches, but at least in this one, they're able to get themselves forward and get themselves in a 3rd place with still a match to go. Not bad.
Yeah, Lazy Boy, he can join my team of all boys. Back in 2019, when we were at the World Championships, we had the para boy, the cool boy, the old boy, the cool boy, the old boy, who was the last boy? I can't remember. But Lazy Boy, he can now be the 4th member. Congratulations. I love that. Fireboy. Maybe it was Fireboy. Thank you, Max. Brilliant stuff. Yes, but the boys team looking strong. You okay?
You okay?
All right, so taking a look at the second page, I am okay. I don't know what you're asking me about there. I mean, I'm always okay. We can see here down towards the bottom of the page, Secret 24 points, BC Soul 17, DRS 13, MS Chumbury sitting at 31 points in 16th place, and they still have a match to go. So we need to see Team Secret get 7 points at a minimum if they want to break through top 16, hoping that MS Chumbury get 0 points in this next match. It's going to be tough. I don't know. I realistically am thinking we're not going to see these teams. And I mean, take a look at their overall stand just to give you guys an idea of where they're currently at. Team Secret in 6th place at 227. DRS in 7th place at 218. So 6th place is 227. 16th place is 119. I think, I mean, if Bigatron just put on the same performance they had before, they would pass Team Secret by 1 point. Actually, by over 1 point. So it's actually really possible we could potentially see teams in like 6th, 7th place not make it into the Super Weekend. Or sorry, not make it into the finals.
It's tough, right? You don't want to be in that position. And you talk about, situations like this, then you need to look at abilities of teams and the tendencies in the past, almost like the history of taking strong games, like one huge game. And DRS, if you track them through the week, they're just going downwards, and that's just not good for the fans.
Yeah, not good at all. But hey, maybe they still have fans out there who are voting for them. And we're going to ask you guys for your thoughts of who your favorite player in PMGC is. You can see that here below us on screen. But also down below us on screen, you have the rewards button. You can click for extra tokens that you can use towards unlocking permanent items. So make sure you guys are doing just that. Hey, Tarzan did it. He did it. He nailed it. Now Kalaris hasn't done it. That's fine. Anyways, all right, cool. We'll get your thoughts in. Let us know. Maybe argue with each other a little bit about why you think your player is better than their player, or maybe you can all agree on the same player, which, let's be honest, that ain't happening. No. But what is happening, we're going to a break because we still have to get ready for the 5th and final match of League play here. We'll see you guys in just about 5 minutes' time.
I saw the first light, the first steps. Now I see much more. I capture Earth in all its beauty. I see action. I see drama. And I see it in the finest detail. Moments of inspiration. And the first steps. I am the 1+9.
Welcome back, everyone. It is time. It wasn't quite 5 minutes, but that's because we're going to talk a little bit before we get into the match and maybe talk to you a little bit about OnePlus as our sponsor here at PMGC with its flagship performance and immersive 120Hz display and hyper-touch technology made specifically for gamers. The OnePlus 9 Pro, your best shot to climb the leaderboards.
Hey!
Hey! If you guys haven't picked it up yet, make sure to do it as soon as possible. But we are going to be heading to our final match here. It is going to be over on Erangel, or Miramar, not Erangel. Hopefully my predictions go a little bit better than my memory of the maps. But we can see groups B, C, D, and E will be participating here in this game. Secret, DRS, BC Swell, quite a few teams who need to have a big match. And unfortunately, there's just not enough points in the lobby for all three of them to have it.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really difficult because I think all three of these really need, as you say, maybe a 15, 16, 17, maybe 20 plus point game here, all things considered. With MS Chonburi kind of has given them a bit of a lifeline, right? Because they were one of the teams that committed down towards the bottom of Pachinki and really didn't convert much off the back of that. So maybe if one of these teams has a big game, maybe they can jump up if teams like MS Chonburi and Rejects don't do too well.
Yeah, we're going to look at these teams that are going to play because obviously Group A is pretty much set, right? We know TJB is not going in, but the other team seems to have found a spot, like from the previous performances. So it's about this bottom part of the table, and it's about who can withstand pressure more. And to be fair, like sometimes you can't focus on too many things, like I mentioned in the past. Maybe it's just that one thing. But what would that thing be? That will be our question.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of questions actually. Like, why is it this week that some teams are struggling that previously didn't? Why is it this week that some teams are performing even better than we saw previously? Or why is it that we see in Super Weekends teams just crumble and fall apart and pull out the football list from last year? But I guess one question we don't have to ask ourselves is who were our two stand-up players in the last match? You can see Lazy Boy and God Tunny. Honestly, I don't have any stats to back this up, but I feel like God Tunny has been on these like head-to-heads and MVPs more than any other player in the entirety of PMGC East.
Yeah, I mean, I think aside from maybe some of the guys on Stalwart, like Action kind of comes to mind, but God Tunny has been up there quite a lot, and it's been an absolutely stellar performance so far from the Infinity here. It is nice to see Lazy Boy up here too, though, considering he's one of the names that we don't really see up here. And now he's on, as I say, my team of boys that can carry me to Nirvana.
Yeah, and with Infinity as well, they are a little bit like Stalwart when all their players are basically very, very good. There's an all-star roster. We've all seen them take turns to be MVP. So that is another good sign for the team. Obviously, this points speak for themselves as well. And yes, but Team Secret, afraid of that. We saw that small... It's not even a hiccup. It was like comedic. It was also extremely sad how he got knocked that game previously. The chance of that happening is extremely low.
Yeah, that was such a sad moment. You know, Fredo, he's got one of the most beautiful smiles in the world, but he's not smiling there because he got knocked over by his own team whilst he was jumping in the middle of the air. It's so rare that happens, given the circumstances, but yeah, unfortunate there for Team Secret.
I mean, I'm seeing how tilted and angry you are. Imagine how tilted and angry he was, being the one actually there in the midst of things. But either way, I mean, again, Secret, even if they don't qualify, I'd still say they're relatively safe. But I really can't. The thing is, I can't ever say that with confidence. I think there's only like two teams out there we can say with confidence with Infinity and Genesis Dogma that they're like going to be for sure through. Maybe 4 rivals in there. It's more about the teams who don't qualify and the performance that they've had throughout the last few weeks. But beyond that, DRS, like what's going on with DRS? Tarzan, talk to me about him. We talked about Secret before in the last match before we kicked things off. But what's going on with DRS, man?
I feel like it's a very linear type of playstyle still, but the efficiency in taking these fights are not quite there. And obviously we talk about them being like rigid in the past. Fine, like if you want to be very rigid with your macro, then when it comes to picking fights, be efficient. Like know when to cut your losses or whatnot, but they've been kind of stuck in between. There's no easy way to look at the map and be able to predict what they're actually trying to do, and that's usually not a good sign.
What about you, Cloris? What's your thoughts? Do you have anything that stands out to you about DRS that you want to mention?
It is difficult because they've just not really been present. I mean, and apart from the 5 kills that they got and the 7th place on the 4th last match here, it has not looked crisp. It's not looked clean for them. I do think that, again, all of these circles kind of shifting kind of southwest and then kind of middling. There's barriers to their entries and not easy opportunities for them in some of these field locations, endings. I can't quite pinpoint exactly where it's gone wrong for DRS here.
Okay. Well, can you then help me out in a different direction? Can you give me a prediction?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you a prediction, but it's not exactly even for the win. I just need them to have a double-digit game. Yeah, and I want to see it because I want to see them in the Super Weekend. It's Team Secret here, and they've got to make something happen because they've been languishing at the moment.
Okay, Tarzan?
I mean, I share the same thought. So let's go. Team Secret.
Okay. Well, I don't share the same thoughts, but I did pick Team Secret because I did, again, the randomly select a team, because that's probably the best chance of victory. And I got them, but the fact is that I chose them and you guys chose them probably means they're probably not going to win.
No, it's got to be the game.
We'll see.
It's got to be the game.
It's going to be the game. Okay. Okay, we have a lot of high hopes. What does Floof think? I think we've forgotten about the Messiah of Floof, because she's a 100% prediction.
She's disappeared. I'm sorry.
She has too much pressure. I don't want to be put on the spot like this. All right, well, I mean, either way, we still have the match today. We still have one day off for all the teams in the Super Weekend to catch up and try to obviously get in the top 16, make it into the Super Weekend. I think I'm really curious to see what will happen in the Super Weekend with potential. I keep asking for it. I keep wishing we would see it. Some hot drops. I want to see teams get engaged on each other. I want to see teams try to keep others out. I mean, you're playing for $6 million in total on the line in PMGC. If you could just hot drop a team, prevent them from qualifying, and it benefits you in a way that you can make, like, you know, even $1,000 more, I would do it in a heartbeat. I hope you guys would as well.
Yeah, there are definitely some there, so you couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's have our casters make it happen. Final match of league play here, Bled Imperium. Do it, boys.
We will try. We will try, Jason. Final game of the league stage, Imperium. Quite a bit on the line for a couple of the teams. It's also obvious who our analysts are. I mean, I think James said it best. He doesn't think they're going to get a chicken dinner, but he wants them to at least get double digits. Team Secret DRS. What's going on here?
It's a final countdown. In my eyes, DRS are out of it. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I did set you up for it. In my eyes, DRS are out of it, not to be considered. Take care of them by now. I apologize. See you guys in the finals. However, for Team Secret, their chances are a lot stronger than it might initially look, because all it requires is for any one of either MS Trambori, Reject, 4 Rivals, or Rico to get a 0 to 1 pointer game, and the door is a lot wider open for Team Secret to make it through. Yes, a good result is still required for them. The fact that it's ending on Erangel, which is outside of Sandhawk, proven to be Team Secret's kind of strongest map, that's also a plus. The playing path has not complemented their normalized drop spot, which is around Toria Hawamada. However, we saw in the previous Miramar game, they did drop down south of Los Leones.
Looking at a zone right now, though. Yeah, a northwestern zone, and a lot of the teams who dropped a little bit later. There's a massive number of teams who have dropped towards the north, towards the south, just south of Los Leones. I count about 6, maybe 7 of them. And you can see early knocks taking place as Reject going up against BTR, and High Boy gonna claim that first blood. There is something I want to touch upon, though.
Yes.
What Jason said. He's like, you know, these teams, if there's something you can do to ruin their day and to ensure you survive, you should hot drop them. I know I would. You know what that makes me think? If there's ever a zombie apocalypse, like an end of the world scenario, Jason's the sort of guy who's going to eat his dog.
He would probably like throw his girlfriend in front of the zombie so he could survive.
I can respect that. I'd do the same.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same. Sorry.
Jason, yeah, no, that's not even sorry about Jason. Yeah. I agree with you.
No, I'm saying sorry to my girlfriend, like, you know.
Is she in the room?
No, she's not.
Okay, good. I don't want you to get, like, disconnected when she hurls your PC out the window.
Suddenly you hear a massive slap and an ow!
All right, we do see the first dog of the replay. Thank you, production. Divine happily cruising along. He's even following the road, following the traffic rules, and gets put down 6 feet under early on. So a bit of a rough start there for Reject. DRS. All eyes at DRS and Team Secret. And I gotta say for DRS, I feel like they looked good the past couple of weeks.
Overall,
overall, like if you average out a performance, it looked good. And listen, I won't lie, I'm slightly little biased towards DRS and Deadeye's guys, you know? And the fact that DRS is struggling like this over here, even in a world where they don't qualify for the Super Week,
they're safe.
At least they're safe right now, I know, but you want them to do good, right? That's what separates champions from the good teams.
And exactly.
And they've been back now for a while. They're not like a new team to the stage, so to speak. They've been around for quite a while. And I feel like at one point they need to get to that next level sooner rather than later, because if they don't, I fear they never will.
Well, we have to give them credit. When you look back in last year's PMGC, they were overshadowed by the likes of what became Skylights, for example, right? So they weren't the strongest Nepal team in last year's PMGC. So to give them credit, I think they have evolved massively over the last year. It just hasn't been in a hugely consistent way. They put themselves big time on the radar when they went up against Zeus in the spring split PMPL, right, at the start of the year. And that's what really put them on a bigger pedestal. But outside of that, they have also overall improved from last year. So we do need to give them credit for that. The teams that I'm also very wary about, especially because their chances of kind of qualifying for this Super Weekend is a little bit more heavily under threat, is actually Reject and Rico. Because if we look at the Super Weekend points that those two teams have, Reject are on 182 and Rico are on 183. The difference between those and the teams down below, such as FaZe Clan and Disavior, is about 60 to 70 points. That is more than possible in the third Super Weekend for the likes of FaZe and Disavior. So, you know, things aren't as safe as what it looks on paper for Rico and Reject in this individual game.
For sure. Might have to put off that particular discussion, because look at MR5. The guy he's on a warpath. Just run straight into 6-8, and Sanan probably wondering, hey, bud, like, are you okay? What are you up to? And MR5, he just like just gifted 6-8 to kill. Now, okay, FaZe 105 points. Like, it's beyond a guarantee that they're qualifying. So I'm totally okay with them going for, you know, a few shenanigans here and there. But that was an interesting decision coming out from MR5. Maybe he wanted to go to the bathroom. Maybe he was feeling hungry, and he's like probably talking to Beer 11. He's like, hey man, can I go grab something to drink or go to the bathroom? And Beer 11's like, no, you're playing the game. He's like, oh, am I now? And just runs in.
Or maybe it's like Creo, who in the promotional video, maybe he was stopping to finish a carving of his own head. You know, in the background said, yeah, it's fine, guys. I need to finish this sculpture of my own head. So I'm just going to bow out in this game. Maybe it was that.
Maybe it was that. We probably will never know what MR5 was thinking. But, you know, sometimes the greatest mysteries are never, you know, left unsolved. Like, you know, good old Nessie, the Loch Ness, talking about... What's the guy's name who jumped off the plane? DB Cooper.
I've never heard that name.
Wait, you never heard of DB Cooper?
No.
So, in the 70s, right? I know we got a little bit of time. Teams are still rotating. We won't see any action right now. In the 70s, I forgot the exact year. This is like when, you know, the airline regulations and security wasn't that good or whatnot. There was this one chap, very average-looking guy. He was sitting in the flight. He had a suitcase next to him, and then he called the stewardess, and she's like, yes, can I help you? And it's like, yes, I have a bomb next to me. And she's like, okay then, well, what do I do? So he hijacks the plane. The plane lands. He allows everyone to deplane except for the pilots and the crew. And then he asks for a couple of parachutes, and then they take off, and he gives specific instructions. And oh, by the way, he asks for money as well. Right? He gets some few $100,000, and then he asks them to fly the plane at a particular perfect altitude, like he's talking about. And then he sent the crew member up towards the pilot's cabin, and then he jumped off the plane.
And he's never been found since.
Never been found ever since.
Oh my god.
So that's a pretty cool.
I think I found my new hobby. But for now, back in this game, we're seeing a lot of convergence towards a kind of very center slash, if anything, a little bit more to the west side of this phase one. We've had a few games now kind of ending around this western guitar area, out of bounds region of the map. So we are seeing teams adapt to it a little bit more heavily. Down One Gaming to the south of El Pozo. FaZe Clan pinched in between Down One Gaming and 6-8. We saw a kill onto MR5 a little bit of time ago. Teams are starting to rotate now quite heavily onto this southwest side with Team Secret, Reject, Infinity, the Xavier, and BTR a little bit more in front. So this is going to be interesting as Phase 2, unfortunately, for the teams that I just mentioned, takes a massive dump and shifts up north.
Yeah, a lot of free real estate, right? Joe Trail, Apocalypse, Alpozo, and Newsy. Okay. Just a laser beam in the distance. A bit optimistic. And MS Chonburi. Bullets whizzing past him. They're like, alright, okay, cool. Time to just tuck our heads in a little bit. A couple of madmen in the distance, just rattling off bullets. And they're going to go for the repositioning as well. It's going to get very interesting towards Monte Nuevo. Quite a few teams.
Yes.
And bear in mind, there's so many teams still down south. So, you know, even further south than La Trilera. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. And this is where DRS really need to think about kind of converging into one core spot in and around the Crater Field Hill side. Again, it's extremely difficult to control the whole of the Crater Field Hill, but you've got to commit to one side as pretty much as a 3-4 man team and hold on to it. Having a 3-1 split, I think, is just as viable, but that's at minimum a 3-1 split. The Xavier, they hold on to Church, they're going to wait a little bit. Team Secret, they need all the points in the world in this Miramar game. We're looking at a chicken dinner minimum. The analysts and the hosts do believe they can pull it out of the bag for now. They're outside the circle, so it's something that they need to really think about as there's a good bit of traffic in front of them.
I've never seen all three of them ever agree in one thing.
I know.
Over the past 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, that's how
I'm
much.
kind of scared by that.
Yeah, I know. And I think Jason got it right. When everyone agrees like that, usually things go very wrong.
It's like the calm before the storm.
It's also like the mega caster's curse. It's like the extreme version, you know. But Infinity opting not to stick around, and BTR as well, just grouping up together, not really looking to take this particular fight.
Okay.
But who's looking to take a fight? Our FaZe, they're still going for it. We're 11. It's kind of alone. And finished off. FaZe, they call. I guess they want to call an early day, an early night, wherever they're playing from right now. So, you know, they're still on top of the table. And with that, we will say goodbye to FaZe fan. Of course, we'll be seeing them very, very soon as Infinity loses a member. Just getting tapped away to his dead jumper. Needs to be careful. Getting so very tunnel vision, and Lamborghini will have no trouble getting the knock, and not quite able to get the finish yet though, but finds a knock onto a member of Team Secret. And considering how still far away they are from safety, and with Xavier ahead of them, it's not looking that great.
Liquid goes down, Infinity pick up a kill there on towards the south side, outside the circle for the time being. And by the way, those 4 points from 6-8, very, very important as we continue this fight on. Meta gets another knock, will go down in the end at the hand of you high boy. The response should and could be there, and that's BTR eliminated. But just to kind of a little bit more importantly, highlight how valuable those 4 points are for 6-8, because coming into this game, they were down in 14th with a total of 39. That puts them ahead of Deadeye's guys, for example. That makes it harder for the likes of Team Secret. Those are very valuable points for 6-8.
Absolutely. And yeah, FaZe kind of gifting them a few of those. I mean, all those kills, in fact. Oh, bit of a shift. Crater Fields. Alpoza still kind of a little bit of a cut into it. And I'm keeping an eye on the southernmost part of that map. Team Secret, it's... Sure, we see a knock, we see 2 players still alive, but with the Xavier still, I believe, yeah, they're 3-man squad right now, and they have made their way in. They're going to be gatekeeping Team Secret here. Look at them, immediately turning around, alighting, and looking to lay the pain down on a Team Secret if they do opt to rotate in from that direction. 6-8 now, coming on top of the mountain and having to go up against Stalwart Esports, who are in the meantime going up against Damwon, who have taken control of the Twin Peak.
Yeah, I really like this from Damwon on their position. Fabian is on the very tippity top of the mountain, but unfortunately his team is only halfway there of getting massive control in this one. Faris is on an off angle to try and provide a little bit of stronger cover into Jensen's Dogma! Action! Ah, you hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but yeah, that's just an unfortunate knock there for against teams against Stalwart Esports. Infinity. In the meantime, getting harassed a little bit here. They've lost Nia. And Newsy bleeding out. I don't think Tony can do much here. He still doesn't know where the other members here of MS Chonburi are, but look at this long flank coming around from behind. This is interesting.
And also, this is just one of a big brain rotation overall from MS Chonburi. When you have two, it's also pretty standard overall in my opinion, but it's simple and effective. When you have two phase shifts that are very heavily north, but also northeast, that means that the kind of south and the southeast are going to be more heavily congested. That in turn means that the southwest side and the western side of the circle is a little bit easier to rotate through. That's exactly what MS Chonburi have done, along with Cryptics as well, and it's working out pretty well. Of course, there's a bit of a delay for MS Chonburi because they've been taking a fight against Infinity, but I still got to give them credit on how they're rotating into this phase 3 circle.
Just a public service announcement as well. This is not potentially, this has to be the last we're ever going to be seeing of BC Swell, right?
It is.
Well, I wanted to say I hope they go out on a good note, but they're not a 2-man squad already, so it's not looking good. Team Secret, Yu Yang is gonna unleash. And with that, Team Secret have been absolutely wrecked. They still have shots alive. Now we know how capable he is, but this early in the game, I'm not really fancying the chances. Bonsai just charging it out in the open, and a lot of vehicles getting absolutely blown to bits. It's been a field day for some of these guys, just rattling off bullets at all these vehicles passing across.
It's going to be even more of a field day as the circle once again shifts up north towards Crater Fields. Korea going up against Japan. Sorry, not Japan, sorry, should I say. As TP13 is going to get taken down. The hands of Down One Gaming. Pop is going to also be taken down. Man, I gotta say Down One Gaming, they stick to their guns in such a good way. Like, they've held on to this position, the circle has shifted away, and they're taking advantage of it.
Come on, BC Swell. Come on.
Yes!
Yes! They get one, they get two, looking for one. Davon having to fight an uphill battle alone. And this is Genesis Dogma, mind you, and BC Swell, the last hurrah. They're gonna go out with a banger nade, sailing in the direction of Davon, but stop it, Top. Just let them have a kill, let them get the wipe.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I say BC Swell, let's go. Even if Top takes it away, it's still good. It's still good to see. See our Tamana with the UMP. Just a couple more bullets.
Come on, get it. Come on, BC Swell, find him. Get the kill.
Yes!
Oh, there we go. Yes, 5 eliminations coming in for BC Swell. They're not gonna go down without a fight. This might be the last time we'll ever see of them, but at least they're gonna give us a show. I hope they get more. I hope they get more. I'm on the BC Swell train right now. Screw everyone else.
And I really want to give a lot of respect to BC Swell, and they deserve so much more than people think. This team are competing in their very first global championship, and they're coming from a region that doesn't have the biggest pool of competitive teams. Every country in every region does have its strongest team. You look at Reject, for example. But outside of that, the teams that then qualify, it takes them a bit more time. And I think you talked about it in the last game. Like, we could see a completely better and different BC Swell team next year if they qualified for next year's global championship. But at the end of the day, they qualified, they played with their hearts in this competition, and they represented Japan valiantly. Thank you very much, BC Swell, for putting on a hell of a show throughout these games.
And it's also super easy to be like mentally checked out, right? You're like, we're done. There's nothing we can do right now. And Top?
First aid, please.
Hello?
Why? Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't have enough to get off a first aid, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, well, start with esports. We'll see them in a couple of days. It's fine. But yeah, for BC Swell, just to continue on the particular train of thought, right? Like, it's so easy to just give up mentally and be checked out and be like, yeah, screw it, we're not playing anymore, or like, just throw themselves at some of their opposition and give them free kills, which they have done unintentionally a couple of times, I won't lie. But yeah, at least they are taking the fight. 6-2-8, by the way, 3 members squad. They have 12 eliminations already, and BC Swell are doing a great job keeping them at bay. 33Z from the distance, though, able to find Tomato, and one man survives.
Oh,
He will eventually fall. Oh no, Fs for BC Swell. Goodbye, and I hope to see you guys back much better. That was at least a show being put up by BC Swell. 6 knocks, and we will finally bid adieu to the Japanese side.
Very important 14 eliminations though for 6 to 8. Like I said, the initial squad wipe on the phase were 4 very important fights. That racks it up even higher. Team Secret, iShots is still alive. DRS still has a 3-person team, but the spread they have is just far too big for them to really control anything. The good thing for them is that the way the circles have shifted and the fights that have been laid out, every single one of the teams are in the edge of the circle. Right, you got 4 rivals on the northeast, the Xavier on the east, Down One Gaming on the direct south. DRS is taking a couple of shots on them. Joso, he's being spotted. iShots burns them just like that with those sprays.
He took a sweet.
Oh
no! Oh no, God. With that, Secret.
They're still alive. Oh no, he's not.
Wait.
He's not.
No, he's
No.
not. It's a bit of a,
It
I
took
think
a
it's
bit
a bit of a
time.
delay in the feed, yeah. But yeah, they haven't eliminated. A bit of a delay on that. There we go. There we go. We've got 8th place, just the 2 points in Secret. Just yeah. Yeah, it's kind of rough, isn't it? And I guess we only
It's
have
fine.
we only have the desk to blame. They all picked Secret,
Yes,
so
exactly.
obviously we know they were going to be struggling because of that. As the Xavier now getting a bit pincered. Because we have Regia coming in from up north, and you have DRS behind, and they have the high ground. They can rain down lead from above, but if they're not careful from across the other peak, Down One Gaming could be a problem.
Yeah, but like DRS 1-1-1. I'm sorry, but what in the blue hell is that split? It's just not really gonna work. Guyalden is pinching between Rico and kind of Cryptics. You have Nima trying to deal with like 2 teams of 3 players. And you know, I just don't get it. I really don't get it though from DRS. I genuinely don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's called belief, all right? It's called belief in yourself. And I think self-belief is something we all work with in Imperium. Like in this day and age, everyone's telling you you're not good enough, but DRS is like, no, we are indeed good enough. Galden just getting saved there by the zone, forcing that Cryptics from pushing out further. Very brave from Lamborghini on a sliver of HV, trying to take the battle against 4 rivals who have managed to close the distance. He's going to go left, he's going to go right, he's going to go right again. He spots the vehicle, the buggy crossing across. Lamborghini's managed to patch himself up in the meantime, and Nima from above helping them out a bit. Happy will be taken down as the Xavier, well, never mind. They will finish up very quickly because it is going to be Down One Gaming from behind, able to get the final knock on this on the players there.
Yeah, it was just that kind of like massive like 4th party for Down One Gaming that took down the Xavier. 4 rivals still alive. If the revives could come out, they'll be up as a 2-man team. But Nima is going to be waiting in the wings. Low ball nade indeed could work out. Don't know if he has any because they've been here for quite a while and they haven't really been able to loot up.
He's got one.
Has he got one? Well, either way, it could be his only nade, so he needs to make sure it's absolutely correct. And he just might allow the likes of Down One and Reject to do the job for him in terms of taking 4 rivals out.
Yeah, for DRS, even though both players are above, like you said, it's not a very comfortable spot because there is no immediate trade potential, no possibility of a res as well. But for rivals, Forest is going to get the first knock, and he's just firing away at them, but he gets knocked down. And that is unfortunate for Mafia Ninja because there is no res possible. Nima is on the opposite end on the other peak. So we will say goodbye to Mafia Ninja. And because of that, because of the fact Nima was nowhere nearby, the res is going to be taking place now for 4 rivals. Sorry, for Rico Infinity, beg your pardon.
Down One Gaming, this looks like it's going to be a bit of a surefire chicken dinner for them. It's only 1 player, DRS, that's left alive. Cryptics could come in and finally get a result as a 3-person team. So I think overall it's a 3-way dance. Unless Nima can stay absolutely quiet, but as I said, he's on his own, so 1 foot out of place and he's out of here.
Forest. Verstigo. Oh, Mafia Ninja! Oh, never mind. I thought he was still alive. He's been knocked down, and the kill confirmation coming in as a kill. That's a point as well. They're gonna be very happy with that. Fidan, in the meantime, just getting tapped away by Nima. as Damwon Gaming, just a one-man standing right now, not looking so great at the moment. Rico Infinity getting knocked out. And you called it, Cryptix, 3 members alive. Sorry, it takes just 3 in, by the way. And DRS, the 1 member. But the thing is, Nima's position there. I don't know, man. Like, it could.
It's outside the circle, though. It's outside the circle. He has to push down that mountainside a little bit. It's why he's chucked out the nade. He's going to get it in his buggy. He's going to send it down, and then he's exposed.
No, that's it. That's it for Nima. There's no way he survives. Yeah, El Chapo making quick work off him. And Damwon Gaming, at least they do guarantee themselves a 2nd position. And Cryptic, 6 eliminations. And they're going to make it 7. Great outing for Damwon Gaming, though. 9 eliminations. And if Forrest can find 1 more...
Forrest!
Almost finds Lazy Boy El Chapo, though, running up from underneath him. He's going to patch himself up in the meantime. Will Forrest, a little bit of respite being given with that almost knock he got the Lazy Boy. Lazy Boy lying prone. He doesn't need to show himself. Senkai's position not quite known yet. And while he's just focused on Senkai and Lazy Boy's position, we have the 3rd member of Cryptic sneaking in from behind, but he might not have to do much here. Senkai and Forrest exchanging blows. He's gonna patch himself up again. El Chapo, though, I thought he was gonna come in from the left-hand side, but perhaps he wasn't able to find an angle. But you said it earlier.
Oh my God, Forrest!
No
I'm
way,
sorry
no
to
way.
cut you off there.
No,
but
no
that
way.
was a blinding couple of shots from Forrest.
No way he pulled this one back, right? The 1v3 to a 1v2. He's outside his zone as well. Trying to confirm the kill. He finishes it off. Lazy Boy down. The 1v2 right now. He's still outside the zone. And he's running out of time. There is no time. The zone's going to move on in. And El Chapo so far away from Senkai's position. And Senkai's going to be the bait. And Imperium, I don't see this happening. There's no way, right?
Stranger things have happened, man. That's all I'll say.
I don't want to, like, give false, hope or bait Kai, but it is looking very unlikely for Forrest. But, well, you said it yourself. Stranger things have happened. Senkai has not moved a millimeter from his position, but the moment Forrest drops down, Senkai peeks around a tree, and a very, very, very well-deserved chicken dinner coming from Cryptics. I think they look fantastic the past 3-4 games, and they very deservingly get their get a chicken dinner at the end here.
I said they deserved a chicken dinner in the previous game. That continues on to this game, so I'm very happy to see Cryptics come out on top, and the fact that it's kind of back-to-back strong performances and even going a little bit further in today's games. They rotated from that western side. I'd highlighted themselves and kind of MS Chambori. Well, Cryptics were a little bit further ahead on that western side with how they dropped and how they moved, and they were essentially in less fights, and then they just played it calmly on that west side as a team. It was just job done. They waited, they baited, they played through, and then they were able to take down Rico. They were at one point a lot closer to Rico, but then they revalued around the kind of lower part of that mountainside, and that allowed them to kind of be less targeted by the likes of DRS. I gotta give credit to DRS. That 3rd place positionally with that spread is good, but is it enough points for them to qualify in 16th? They had a massive uphill battle coming into this. They lost one early on. I just don't think it was enough.
Yeah, my math is terrible, so I haven't really been able to keep track of it. But yeah, both DRS and Secret for sure, I don't think have made it. We don't have Tang Jabao as well. The BC Swell definitely haven't made it either. I think the toss-up is I think it was MS Chonburi kind of at the bottom of the table.
Yes.
We saw Deadeye's guys, I guess, but yeah, I'm not sure either. Maybe the analyst desk can break it down. But
of course,
that was a pretty fun game overall, right? We saw some very early fights breaking out. In fact, I don't think you and I have had too many Miramar games where we've had so many vehicles being the moving tombs for a lot of the players, right? Most of the times, most of these players stay alive, but we saw a lot of mid-game rotations just getting caught off guard, and you can see it in the replay itself. So many vehicles just getting blown apart.
It was difficult for these teams because of the consistent hard circle shifts in one direction. It was generally quite difficult. Miramar is the map where if the circle shift kind of heavily in a bad way, it's so much more painful compared to Erangel because of the harsh terrain, and like you said, we saw a lot of vehicles be blown up, but some beautiful long-range shots from a number of these teams, whether it was Forest, whether it's Cryptics, whether it's even Rico at times. Some really clean sprays from a distance.
Yeah, but In the end, I mean, yeah, you got to give credit where it's due, right? Cryptic's really stepping it up, and I think that's it from us here for when it comes to the league stage. Coming up next, of course, is going to be the Super Weekend in a couple of days, but before that, of course, we have the wonderful That's to break everything down. So, Jason, Team Secret didn't quite pan out.
What they don't know is they're not casting anymore this event. No, yeah, Team Secret not working out indeed. Neither really seeming too well for DRS, but we obviously need to check in to see the points, see if they maybe did qualify into our top 16 and make it into the Super Weekend. Really rough match for quite a few teams there. I think 628 played spoiler for, well, at least Secret there, getting the explosion on the vehicle and taking down 2 players. But Cryptics getting themselves a chicken dinner. They had a close run earlier on today, but to close things out is a good sign out of this team, especially moving forward here into the final Super Weekend.
Yeah, I mean, my mind almost, I said to you guys, I'm like, oh, is that a back-to-back? But no, they didn't actually win the previous game. Of course, Infinity did, but that goes to show just how good an ending Cryptics had here, which I think is great. I mean, I had some question marks around this team in terms of how high they could push in the overall standings later on down the line, but this is enough to, you know, reassure me that maybe, yeah, you can start moving into those top 10s, into those positions where maybe you even qualify for the finals of the Global Championship down the line.
Yeah. I mean, like, they all started this league play with a win, and we thought that might be the key factor here. So the translation from this into Friday's Super Weekend, that will be key for them. But can I just have a quick shout out towards Damwon Gaming? Like, Damwon Kia has tried so hard to adjust to evolve, especially in the rotation efficiency in the first 2 phases, and they are that team that sometimes are right at the top when it comes to mid-game elimination counts. So they've not been threading the needles when there's nothing for them to do. Like, they were finding these fights, neutral fights were strong for them. So this is actually a great improvement from this team.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you're going on. The elimination department, I think, is so important. We've talked so many times here on the desk about you can't just be a high placing team. You have to be able to get the eliminations when it matters. You have to be able to have that nice marriage between the 2 in points. And it's fantastic to see them able to step up like this. I mean, even 628, I feel like we don't really talk about them too much. 14 eliminations and 1 ranking point. Like, that's quite a flip-flop there from, I guess, the usual.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the position that they were in, because to be honest, STE, they were fighting tooth and nail in this last game to even try and get towards the circle. So, but I do like when teams are in that position where it's like, okay, we don't think we're quite going to be able to get our spot that we want here in this circle. Let's just shoot at everything. And that's what 628 did in this game, and I love it when I see it.
Yeah, you just need to dedicate yourself to a plan. And sometimes when you are in that spot where you feel like, can we get in? Can we not? When you're stuck in between, then you can't really execute on the plan. But the plan was very clear there. We probably won't get in, shoot everything. And we love seeing that. But that was also a decision that some of these teams need to make later into that game just now.
Well, 33Z going to be the MVP, and why not? When they had 14 eliminations, he got half of them at 7 with just 4 points short. Is this worthy, Claris, of a sound?
I'll give him a
4 points damage.
I'll give him a there you go.
Okay, all right. And 41% of his team's contribution. So not bad here out of 33Z. Again, we got to see 628. I feel like we really saw them stand out in week 1, like within like the first 2 days of league play. And then I feel like since then, we just haven't really seen them be on the forefront of like picking up these big elimination matches or getting victories under their belt consistently. I feel like they've kind of like fallen back behind a lot of other teams like your Infinity, like your Genesis Dauntless.
For me, the way they qualified to this tournament, it was more impressive than what they've done so far in this tournament, if you get me, right? Agreed. I still don't think they've lived quite up to the way in which they qualify for this tournament. So I want to see more of that, because in that we saw some clutch 1v3 plays from some of the members on this team. And I still think they're capable of those kinds of things in this kind of lobby.
I think this is a thing with the Chinese teams as well. It might be a regional meta thing that we often in the green rooms come up with these points like, look at like TJB, look at like 628 and even Nova. Their split's so huge. Are they so used to having huge splits, maybe switching from FPP now into TPP? Maybe there's still some calibration and adjustments that they have to make in that department. We don't know, but that could be a theory that we can go with. But 628, when you put them in a situation like that with a clear plan, they for sure will execute.
Yeah, and it's about them, I guess, hitting that form at the perfect time. Like, again, if you're a team that performs really well in the beginning, then you fall off towards the later stages, well, congrats. You kind of just played yourself. Yeah, you had a strong start, but then when it comes down to time of potentially making it into the grand finals coming up in January, you might not be able to make it. And maybe this is time for 628 to step up here and really start to perform and really put up that level of performance that they're going to need if they want to be able to break through top 9 and be one of those teams to make it into the grand finals here from the East League. But taking a look at our overall recap of our league play here in this week, Cryptic's actually coming out number 1 with 107 points. That is damn impressive.
That's a big W on the board for Cryptic's, considering, I mean, overall in the Super Weekends right now, they're like 13th with 153 points or something like that. So for them to go into this next Super Weekend with that much kind of confidence behind them after this final spurt of results, I think is going to be allowing them to fly. But also, I do want to mention briefly here, 4th place, Damn One Gaming. I think this has been a really strong rise from them.
So 2 points short for DRS. Because I was thinking with eliminations, that's not the first tiebreaker, it's rank. They would have been too low on that. That kind of hurts for them. But and now, I mean, obviously DRS, they're sitting up pretty well, as well as Team Secret in points overall. But there still is a chance, a realistic chance, they could be knocked out of top 16 at the end of the Super Weekend. We really don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of teams gunning for those positions and a lot of teams below them looking to surpass them.
Yeah, is this volatility that we should expect in this last Super Weekend that actually excites us when we talk about the qualification point being 31 this week, which is a very different one compared to weeks before.
Yeah.
You can arguably say it's because of a redistribution of how teams play and the strength and weaknesses or whatnot. There's just many things that you can consider, but there are changes coming through and teams really have to grab those that will work in their favor.
Yeah, and too many times going into the last Super Weekend as well, we have those situations where we already kind of know 3 of the 4 teams that are kind of done. But this time around, only 1 team that we definitely know is done. So still 3 spots to play for, Jason, moving forwards, which is cool.
This is cool. This is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fantastic. 17 more limbs than anyone else when it comes to league play here for Action. Pairboy at 42 and Action at 59. That is tough. Like that's dominating. That's like more than dominating. That's
Action
ruthless.
he was a fiend. I mean, the fact that throughout this tournament as a whole, he was a few thousand points of damage ahead of some of the number 2 in this tournament. I haven't quite checked that today, but this is kind of the result of the first 2 weeks, right? Action is just, yeah. I think this tournament, especially so far, really has made a star out of him. And alongside the STE boys, they've been looking great.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think they're following really well in the footsteps of the predecessors of Zeus from last year, who placed 3rd place overall. Really showing Mongolia has insanely strong teams, and I almost wish there was like more than 1 spot coming from Mongolia here to bring in like potentially Zeus or even another team we haven't really focused on too much, but they've been able to reign supreme at the top, and so is the Infinity. Again, another team I never would have expected coming in from Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, who has just been dominating and have been the most consistent team, I'd say, out of anyone else out there.
Yeah, I feel confident enough to really try roster changes as well. Not sure whether that completely worked out today, but I think they still do very decently. And we will have that same question like last week, right, Kalaris, when they tried something on the 2nd day of league play and see what they decide of what they found, right, like in how they perform. So into Super Weekend, of course, they're looking comfy, but you don't want to lose, gas. You want to continue to dominate because after it feels so good to be in the first place going into the finals.
It's the best practice you can get. It's the best practice you can afford when all of these teams are in that high pressure situation so that you can kind of take that and fuel that into the grand final. So yeah, very important.
Okay, well, you guys at home who are watching, maybe you caught the competitive bug here. We have the PMGC Community Tournament happening with Game TV. It's open for anyone out there. All you have to do, just go register to play and get PMGC tokens and the Google Play cards. We're not doing the point down yet. But speaking of pointing down, as you see below the stream, there's a rewards button. Make sure you guys click that, because if you do, you get some extra points, extra PMGC tokens that you can use.
Nope. Okay, I'm
there we
out
go.
of the screen. Okay, no. I'll try that another day.
And you actually have too close. That and up. All right, then you can get some more tokens, unlock some permanent items. But a quick little recap what happened today. I actually want to go back almost and just see how many days in total out of every day we've had so far in this event has Infinity not gotten a chicken dinner.
Ooh,
that's a good question. Interesting. Yeah.
I feel like it's not that high. I feel like it's like relatively low, to be fair. I can see one Super Weekend, or what was it? Day 1 of Super Weekend 2.
Day 1,
I think
week
I see
3.
one. Yeah, not many though, to be fair.
here's the thing, like for the days that they haven't gotten one, they found points like
Yeah.
in other ways, so they still were very clear in their strengths, and that is important. We talk about how they get points. Yes, of course, maybe no chicken dinner, but they found their ways, they control pockets, and they play a good game of PUBG.
Yeah, they play a fantastic game of PUBG, and we're going to see more of them coming up in our Super Weekend, which is not happening tomorrow because we have the day off. It's going to be happening on Friday, and it's our last 3 days in a row here of Super Weekend before we can finally get into the finals here and find our 9 teams to represent East League to play in the Global Championships, the Grand Finals, against 6 from West and 1 from India. So, ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have a great rest of the night, great day off tomorrow, but we'll see you on Friday, bright early, for some more PUBG Mobile action.
Of survival, the challenge will never be over. This is the race, it's not the end. Can't see what's written tomorrow. Some call it fate, but one thing I know, this time I will be in control. I'm caught in the fray, but we'll survive the battle. One for glory. All our brothers in arms feel the fire. We're conquerors, never back down. The battle tells our story of survival. The challenge will never be over. This is the race, it's not the end game. You've got to believe you can win. The world, it won't give you the time. It's now or never. We pick our arms for the battle. It's time to hunt, and one thing I know, this is the moment to rise. Oh, I'm caught in the fray one more time. Let's go. The battle, one for glory. All our brothers in arms feel the fire. We're conquerors, never back down. The battle Bye.